Welcome everyone to Tuesday, December 19th, Fitchburg Planning Board meeting. Opening remarks. All meetings of the Fitchburg Planning Board are open to the public. This does not mean that the public participation in all aspects of the meeting. It simply means that the meeting itself, including all discussions and votes, is open to public view. If you wish to address the board regarding a public hearing, please raise your hand and the board will acknowledge you at the appropriate time during the hearing. The board will also monitor any participants that are attending virtually for questions at the appropriate time. Virtual attendees are asked to use the raise hand function to be acknowledged. 1, state your name and address. 2, approach the center table and either stand or sit. This allows you to be seen and heard clearly by everyone in attendance. 3, the planning board requests that comments be limited to no more than 5 minutes in the interest of time. Please be advised that, I'm not sure, but FATV is conducting audio and video recording of this meeting for public broadcast, and I ask that anyone in the audience who is recording this meeting to please identify themselves for the record now by stating their name and address. And don't see anyone yet. Great. So the agenda this evening, we do not have any approval not required plans, also called A&R. We do not have any minor site plans at this time. We do have listed 4 public hearings. The first being special permit and site plan review for the applicant at 23 Pleasant Street Apartments LLC submitted a plan for reuse of a vacant 3-family dwelling along with a parking plan located at 23 Pleasant Street in the zoning district of downtown business district. We here this evening, we've gone into the.
So I'm going to pull up the, so I'm going to pull up the Chantel, the full screen top, the one on the top right, next to the X, way on the top right of the screen. Yep, there we go. And then you can drag that bar up in the middle if you want and make it bigger. So if there's a little bar under the image of everyone. Yep. There you go. Perfect.
I can minimize this for now. Just maybe not.
Good.
All right, where would you like to begin?
Well, I'm Aaron, I'm the owner. This is the architect, Mark Scriver.
Okay.
So yeah, basically, just an overview. 23 Pleasant Street is an existing vacant multifamily house. There's been a number of approvals over the past couple of years for 3-family use, just that nobody's actually, I guess, got it to the finish line. So right now it's a, I guess, second Empire Victorian is the type of home that it is. So it's a beautiful property. It will definitely be, really nice. Hopefully after we finish it up, and it should clean up the street really nicely. But what we're trying to do is basically put 3 apartments there, which can be seen on the plans that are attached. So if you want to start at the top there, I can kind of walk you through. Yeah, so if you start at the top, just scroll up. So basically, you can see that's the facade there. That's the front face of it. So it hasn't been in use in a long time. This building, it's actually the back of it is attached to what appears to be, well, it's now an apartment building. I think it must have, back in the day, been some sort of an industrial. I think the owner kind of lived in that front part, and then it was attached to that multifamily.
This is the picture that Peter sent to me, the rear of the property.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically what the intent is to completely restore the exterior. I saw the comment from the planning board regarding the historical colors, which we're completely fine with. We're going to maintain the, existing historical trim, put in new windows. Obviously, you're going to be getting a HERS rating. We plan to put in a full sprinkler system so that it's, fully up to date there. And yeah, try to really highlight the historical elements of the property. We'll do landscaping, that was suggested in the application, in the response to the application, and pretty much anything that you guys would like to see, I'm happy to do in terms of, well, as far as the things that are outlined.
There's not much area to plant, so it's kind of limited.
Yeah, we got an 8x8 area where we can plant some
Yeah, we could put some just shrubs in there rather than, that's not a good space for lawn.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, it's, basically a house that's sitting on top of an existing parking structure. That's a giant concrete block, which I had my engineer come out and take a look at. And he, said that was acceptable. there was some work that needed to get done beneath the back stairs there with one of the, not those stairs, but there's another stair on the side of the building that has like a fieldstone foundation that needs some work, but we're planning to address that. And then on, if you want to switch back over to the application, and just kind of scroll down, I'm just kind of talk through in here what I just talked about. That was my initial idea. I like that kind of modern farmhouse look on it, but if the planning board would like to see something, I thought that was kind of historically like a modern twist on a historical look, but
Except for the colors.
Yeah, we'll fix it, yeah, except for the color, right?
And colors are just,
Because you mentioned even that the windows may not be black, so then they're white, so it's all white, so it's like, well, no.
yeah, so that's fine. I just, I've done some projects in Sudbury recently, and I like to see the black trim in the windows, and they like the white. So, I mean, it depends on, it is what it is. I'm not really hung up on the color per se. And then kind of going down, yeah, that's the only real area for plantings right there. So we'll do what we can.
Yeah. Mulched area with some low growth, hydrangeas, stuff like that.
And then kind of scrolling down here, that's just showing where we would, on the side, there's a bit more room, so we'd be able to fit some snow in there for snow removal in the wintertime. And that's pretty much what we were showing for snow management.
and in the photo there, you can see the actual parking. So it's currently utilized as parking space. So that was our intent, just basically to stripe it, designate it, number it per unit.
So you understand you're driving over the curb right now?
Yeah.
So you need to pull the curb cut and pull that off.
So I've submitted that to the DPW, and I had indicated in here that I think there's, typically it's 36 feet, so we were going to apply for that waiver for 54 feet. I think it should be 54 feet because there's 6 parking spots and they're 9 feet each. So, that's where I got 54 feet. So it should be plus or minus a foot. But yeah. And then trash storage, there's you can see on the left, there's a little deck area there where we could put a few trash cans, or on the right, there's also space there for trash management.
Yeah, we can talk about that because I wasn't, see that you no longer, by the plans, going to utilize a small porch at all for any type of entranceway?
There isn't any entranceway there right now. It's just kind of hanging out the side. So I could put up a little, like a 42-inch railing there. There's enough room to put some
It just doesn't look like it's got enough room. You know how big the totes are? It's
Yeah.
like they're not going to be able to pull one tote around another tote to like pull stuff out over there.
Hmm.
And you're going to need 6.
Okay.
You're going to be 3 rubbish plus 3 recycling.
I think there's enough distance between the parking and.
So if you have enough on the other side.
Yeah.
And just. you should
Right, on the
replace
right
screen
side,
On the
yeah.
right side and put
Yeah.
a screened in area over there, you can say like white vinyl or something
Sure.
like that. With the creation of something.
That could be fine. Yeah, we have enough room, so we can absolutely do that. Put up a fence or some kind of vinyl screening.
Other board members have any comments on something like that with the rubbish?
I agree that porch is a little narrow on the left-hand side, but you do have the space.
Yeah.
On the right, so that's great.
Okay, so if you keep scrolling down from here, yeah, these are the waivers that I've spoken to Chantel about. So, that's the existing curb cut. We're anticipating to be 54 feet, and I believe the current code says 36 feet is the maximum. So, and the existing parking structure goes up all one parcel previously. So the existing parking structure goes right up to the lot line. So I believe there's another waiver I would need there. And then, so yeah, and basically the parking structure on both sides is pretty much 0 lot line, but it's been existing for, I don't know how long that parking structure has been there. So it's, gigantic concrete blocks. So I'm not really sure what else I could do as far as that's concerned.
You're in the downtown business district, so all you need is there's no lot size requirement per se, and then there's no setbacks, it's only 20 to the front.
Okay.
And this is why we're able to also reinstate the use of a 3-family on our board versus having to go to the ZBA.
Right.
Because it's actually conforming.
Mhm.
The
Because it's
building-
in downtown
Because
business.
it's in a downtown business district and there is no lot line, there's no setbacks.
Yeah.
So the building's actually, conforming to the zone.
Great. Okay. That's pretty much everything I had for my application initially. Mark, is there anything you had to add to that?
No, so I mean, we can go through what the 3 units are if you'd like.
Yeah, what's the number of bedrooms per each?
So on the second page, we have, basically, we have a 3-bedroom, and a 2-bedroom. So the first floor, so we try to get a little bit creative to utilize the space that is there. So the first floor unit goes down and we have bedrooms in the basement, and the first floor is basically your living area. So we get 3 bedrooms out of that. Then the second unit has the opposite side of the first floor, and then you go up to the second floor, and the second floor is your bedroom level. So we try to maintain the living areas on the main level and then split the bedrooms oppositely. And then the third floor is basically a 2-bedroom unit, and it's just the entire flat of the third floor.
And what's good? It seems to be, that's a tall structure on the back from, are there any, it looks like it's 4 or 5 stories tall actually from the.
Yeah.
Look at it from the back, yeah. it's pretty low.
Or is that just?
So there's actually like a sub basement, which is going to be unfinished at this point. I think that's what we had in the plans, right?
Yep.
So then the basement level, which is, if you're looking at the back, would look like the second story.
Yeah, tell you what, why don't I pull up that picture that Peter had sent? Hold on 1 second. Because we have a million things open here.
So when you say the first floor bedrooms are going to be in the basement, what you're really saying is they're going to be 1 level below street level.
Correct,
Yeah,
yes.
but if they're on the backside, they're actually above street level, but
So-
below
So
Pleasant
you
Street.
can probably point it out there if you want.
Yeah, so the 3 windows that are on the lowest part, that is the
Sub-basement.
sub basement, so that's going to be currently unfinished space that I'll use for storage. The next level up, that's where,
First floor bedrooms go for unit number 1.
and then the next level up is, Mark, you want to?
Yeah, so the main level on the side you're pointing at now is unit 1. And then on the opposite side of the first floor is unit 2. So the side we're looking at has the basement, stairs and bedrooms. And then the opposite side of the first floor has the bedrooms on the second floor above.
And after you look at this, switch back over to the plans, it'll make more sense.
No, I get it.
And then the third floor is, like I said, it's its own unit.
If you need to replace the railing, of course, that, I know you don't, it's not being used as a entryway or anything, but you need to have a railing.
Yes, for sure, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I noticed on the plans, I think that that doorway actually goes into like the kitchen-ish area for that unit, so it could be an option still.
Yeah.
It could be like a-
So Mark, you want to take that?
Yeah, so on the right side, we've got that the basement is shown. So we have some common area in the front, right there, yes. And then we have the stair coming down, which is the kind of the center stair that goes top to bottom on the sheet. That's the stair that circulates up to the first floor on the left side on the left plan. In the right side of the first floor, again, has the stair going up to the second floor. So that kind of captures the basement that goes with the first floor. And then the first floor, right side unit, you have to look at that following sheet to see the bedrooms for that floor. Right. So now on the right side, we have the 3 bedrooms that go with the first floor unit number 2. And then on the left side, we have the 2-bedroom unit on the third floor.
So kind of like townhouse style. So
Exactly. Yep. So we found that, and again, I did the project at 80 South Street. That's almost complete. And we kind of did the same thing there where we could. We made townhouse units out of it. And it accomplishes a lot of things. One, it's much easier to fire rate, and as well as the STC, sound transmission coefficients. It's much easier to not have people walking above you. So we tried to limit that as much as we could here.
And that attic's unfinished up here?
No, that's actually the third floor, which is the.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, it looks like a massive building from here.
Well, the reason why I said that, yeah, okay. I'll review the full plans again, but okay.
say you're gonna retain like the historical like molding portions.
Yes.
and trim work. And try to choose a couple of historical colors.
Yeah.
Your main color and an accent color.
Yep.
Oh, what are you gonna do for heating, cooling? Just because we don't want to see stuff hanging out the windows. You're gonna have where that's gonna be mounted or on a type of.
Yeah, so we're planning to do heat pumps. And so that will be ducted heat pumps that will serve the entire space, and we'll probably put the equipment on the roof if possible.
Was there a space on the other, like, I forgot.
It'll either be mounted on racks right on the side, it's like which we could cover with some sort of vinyl if you didn't want to see that from the street, but
Lower to the, not hanging off this.
yeah, there's actually, if you are on the front, there's like kind of go down behind where the, yeah, so,
See that protrusion to the right there?
Yeah,
Correct. So I think that's where Aaron was saying with the rooftop. So it doesn't mean like on the top of the third
It's
floor.
always like.
So yeah, so we have the first floor structure that we're going to reutilize there, but there's
Okay.
nothing really on it. So some of the previous plan sets that we inherited had all kinds of things going on there, which I think it uglified the building, if you will. So we're trying to keep it fairly simple. And if we do end up putting the rooftops there, I think, we can just put a little railing across it so I can look at it.
yeah.
Or in front of the dumpsters, with that whole fenced in area, whether or not if it's there, anything on that. But I don't
Yeah,
know
we
why
could
it's
do the totes and then, because we're only going to have 3 units, right?
Yeah, so there's lots of options, we can definitely conceal them. And then, yeah,
You'd be surprised how much 3 units take though. It's at least 6 bins and quite often it's more than that, so. I'm reviewing the 2017 permit. And there's just a couple things that I think should carry over. So the reason why I pulled up the street scene, one of the conditions was to remove that chain link fence and to install decorative cast aluminum fencing.
Okay.
I think that permit condition should carry over. I think I'm thinking this as I'm talking. It says preferably with cast aluminum, not chain link or stockade. I don't know what the board feels, but I think for durability's sake, vinyl coated chain link might work better, the black vinyl coated chain link. I can tell you from experience and seeing some of the ones we did that as soon as the car hits that cast aluminum, it's destroyed and not easily repairable.
Yeah, I don't see what the problem is with the vinyl chain link.
Yeah, so like regular galvanized chain link I wouldn't want, but if we did 4 foot,
Who's supposed to
vinyl
be
coated.
straight? I would say that decorative fencing. As
Sure.
long as it's there. Also,
they got
because of the
cars
height
parked in
distance, I just really want to make sure no one's gonna go.
well, that's the other thing I was
over the
thinking,
edge
that's
of
more
that
durable
little-
too.
Versus
It
it
is.
being like, it's a 3-foot truck.
Mhm.
Right.
Scenario. Yeah, it's kind of different. Is the board members okay with that?
I think in this case, it makes the most sense, especially for durability's sake, it's probably,
So
And
that
safety.
was black.
yeah, 4 foot black coated channel, chain link
Vinyl-coated.
fence along the parking area. So basically wherever the fence already exists on your property, take it off. And I don't know the great difference on the left-hand side if you need that. Hold on, I have my screen paused here. I gotta unpause it. No. That,
it kind of slopes down there a little bit.
oh yeah, you do need it there because you have a pretty good drop, especially I'm sure as you go back a little bit. So anyway, wherever that is, just replace it with new fence. There were a couple others. Bear with me for 1 second. We carry the condition over, no dumpster on site. We already said that you're going to do totes, but that should be a permanent condition in the future. You don't want to see a dumpster there. There's some stuff about water and sewer, which we'll have a condition about satisfaction of the DPW and the water department. It says here the sewer lateral should be camera inspected on proper function. Domestic water service must be replaced from water main to building. If required, a fire sprinkler system could possibly require a second water meter service. All of those things that'll come up as you get into permitting.
So but they do want, it's gonna be helpful because you're gonna pull a curb cut, so they do want to revise like a site plan showing like the curb cut and where the round is. So they repeatedly ask us
Okay.
for that, to ask you.
Okay, all right.
Because
I mean, realistically, we need a site plan, we need a definitive site plan because this is site plan approval too.
Yeah.
So we actually have to have a site plan to approve. It's very tough to do it off just the pictures there. So it should be a stamped, it should be a surveyed plan that show that the spaces are ideally, I understand these might be difficult, but as close to 9 by 19 or whatever it is, 8.5 by 8, whatever the number is in our code, so that they're back off the street as much as you can.
Show that the curbs removed, show where the roundings are,
Okay.
show the vinyl, the fencing for the trash
Okay.
on it. What did they ask? I'm not sure if you did, you see the DPW comments, they only came in on Friday.
No, I didn't see them.
I didn't see them.
I can send it.
Yeah, so it was like, can the applicant provide a site plan with distance to the abutters and locations? Can the applicant provide a site plan with the boundary and property lines? Can they provide a site plan with the location of the existing utilities on Pleasant Street? They want to see where the connections are for the water and sewer on the plan. That is part of our site plan review.
We actually had a permit condition that I was surprised to see in there, but the Board of Health must have requested it at the time. It said a plan to safely renovate the building with emphasis on EPA's lead renovation, repair, and painting rule. Regulation shall be submitted to the Board of Health. I'm sure all that's gonna be part of your building permit process anyway, but I'm just letting you know. I'm sure, you probably saw this permit, I would assume.
Yeah, no, and I think somebody at some point had done a lot of paint remediation on the building already, so there's not really much paint left, but yeah.
Perfect. I only mention it because, I mean, I see a million of these. It's an unusual permit condition that we don't see that often. And it was probably there because this building was so derelict, it was in such poor condition that there was a lot of peeling paint visible.
All the work in the right of way needs to be done by a bonded contractor. Could you reach out to the engineering department? Apply to the curb cut for the driveway application. Applicant to revise plan shall propose curb cut. Show depict the existing water service.
And then I'm gonna be putting in sprinklers, so as I understand, speaking of my sprinkler contractor, we'll probably have to put in a new water line for that anyway. So-
Put that on the plan too.
Yeah, okay.
That's why I said like a lot of these are gonna be solved as you go through everything, but I think the DPW and water kind of want to know where everything is. And I mean, I was gonna bring up what Paul had mentioned about the site plan. Obviously, when we do, this is a special permit and site plan review. So we do site plan review, we technically need a site plan so that if anything ever happens, we say, this is what it was supposed to look like, not these pictures. So the other question I had, obviously, this picture was from 2019, and it looks like there's predominantly a concrete paved area.
Yeah.
Is that still in adequate condition or?
Yeah, I had an engineer come out and look at it, which I attached the affidavit, stamped affidavit, so yeah.
So the only other thing, and it's pretty standard and it's not important, it's just striping those parking spaces. And this might not necessarily be a permit condition, but I think it makes sense. And you probably should is label the spaces, however you want to do, you know, 2 per unit.
No problem.
That way, you know, people know where they're supposed to be parking. Obviously, this area, like most areas, like most properties near downtown, has, you know, very congested, bad parking issues. So the more we can keep people safely off the street, the better.
And then the, just right, you're gonna upgrade like this, the railings at the stairs.
Yep.
Not wooden posts, just in keeping with the character of the house, you know, some type of metal railing.
Sure.
Yeah, my main concern with this special permit is not so much the interior of the building, because I know you guys are gonna do everything new. Everything inside is gonna be outstanding, up to date, brand new, everything. So I don't have a problem in the world with the interior. What I'm especially worried about is the exterior. And I took the time a couple of times to drive by the building and actually get out of the car and walk around the building, both from the Pritchard Street side and the Pleasant Street side. And as I stood in front of the building and looked at it, it was kind of like, wow.
Yeah.
I never really stopped to take a look at this building that closely, but this is one exceptional Victorian 3-family. It's out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Now Fitchburg is loaded with 3-unit tenements that are Victorian tenements. This one had a lot of special attention. There are some design elements on this house you just don't see in a lot of homes today. So, when you look at restoring a house like this, there's 2 ways you can go. I mean, you can vinyl side it and take all the interesting stuff off of it, and you have a vinyl sided shoebox.
Yeah.
Or you can really add attention to the detail, and it'll be one outstanding structure.
Yeah.
So my worry is how you're going to, I know you already said, you do want to restore much of the exterior, but my question to you is, to what extent? Just one more quick thing and I'll let you answer. Because I noticed on the special permit that was granted on March 16th of 2017, it says, exterior improvements shall retain historical architectural features to the extent possible. I don't like to the extent possible, because that gives anybody the leeway to knock off all the corbels, the brackets, put up some nice metal molding, whatever's easier to do. This building has exceptional features that should be preserved.
Yeah, and that's honestly one of the reasons I like the building. I looked at those features and I thought that they're beautiful. So my plan is to basically sand those down, in accordance with the EPA guidelines, of course, and try to refinish them as nicely as I possibly can, to the extent possible. Just kidding. No, but just sand them down and to paint it primarily, probably 2-tone with one primary color and an accent color. And I think that's my plan. I'll talk to Mark about what we should do for a color scheme.
Do you see any architectural details on there that immediately say these are gonna go, to make it easier to work with?
No, I mean,
I think a lot has to be replaced.
Yeah, there's some of
A
the,
lot of the eaves are truly rotten and
Oh,
will
yeah.
need to be replaced. And truly our intent is to keep the brackets, even if we have to, use an AZAC imitation bracket that has the same, proportions and same qualities. But the one thing I'll add is Aaron is a contractor, so he's not talking from inexperience or a homeowner standpoint. I mean, when he says we're gonna replicate everything we can, some stuff's clearly gonna have to be ripped off. And our intent is to make it as maintenance free as possible. I don't think any intent is to go with vinyl siding, because that would just really trash the look of it.
yeah, for example, right, you see where those rotted, fascia boards are, right? If that's completely rotted out and that was a board that was created, 1905 with some special profile, that's, $70 a linear foot to recreate. I'll probably get something that's a little bit more standardized than that. But as far as all the brackets are concerned and everything else, those in general, they didn't look like they were too rotted to me for the most part. It was just kind of different areas.
They're in good shape.
Yeah.
For the most part.
So I'm going to, try to maintain those, restore those. And yeah, I think that's something that will make this property unique. And not only is it going to provide value to me as a, property owner, but,
Down the road, the resale,
yeah.
if and when you ever sell.
Yeah.
Those corner moldings in the house that are very wide,
Mhm.
with the recessed panels are made to look like pillars in a way.
Yeah.
And, those of course are a real big feature of the building.
Mhm.
It's nice to have those stay
Mhm.
rather than wrap it with a corner.
Yeah,
mold.
that'd be a shame. Yeah.
Yeah. And the brackets the corbels on the front door.
Oh, they could be great.
Yeah, you can't get that anymore.
You can't buy that with money today.
So yeah, no, I my intention is to maintain as much of that as I possibly
Okay,
can.
that's great. And the 2-tone color,
Yeah.
much nicer looking than one.
I think to the extent possible is always a permit condition, because it's not often possible to retain every possible detail, just because of.
He's contracted.
Oh, no, I know. But the reason why it's a permit condition is if we put to maintain all of the architectural details as they exist today, and there's like a corbel that that they can't
Well,
retain.
no
it's
problem.
similar,
Yeah.
replace it
I
similar.
feel that you're gonna do a great job.
Yeah.
I think you've got.
So we can change it, removing to the extent possible, and like Paul had said, to retain the architectural details or similar alternatives. It might be better than to the extent possible.
Well, if you have to do, like, say, we're talking about the moldings on the corners, now, if that's all like rotting, you're gonna replace it with something, what other type of material, like AZAC material?
Yeah, and again, AZAC can be
So-
crafted
so
to
you're
have that
gonna
exact
replicate
same look.
That, you're still gonna replicate that feature and not just go on.
Correct, yes, yeah, the panelized look to that corner.
Exactly. Keep that.
I don't know the history of the house, who lived in it, it should be easy to find out, but whoever had that house built,
Yeah, I think it must have been the owner of the factory, you know, because it's attached to the factory and he probably was making money, you know, running that factory and built this for his family.
Oh, yeah.
So,
We have DPW comments, but we don't have fire.
I mean, fire, I mean, aside from smokes and sprinklers, I'd be surprised if there were any other comments, but we can certainly put a call out to them and say, "Oh, you guys have anything?" It's really up to you.
We still need to just get all the feedback from the departments.
What's your timeframe?
Sooner the better. We're ready to roll. So as soon as we get approval, we'll go, you know, back to the building department and, you know, go start the permitting process. And really, the building in the inside right now has some structural issues that are temporarily supported, but, you know, with a big snow load kind of worry me. So I've wanted to get the interior framing going as soon as I can, because, you know, worst case scenario with a big snow load, like there's a hole in the center of the building about the size of two Chevrolet Suburbans all the way down, which are supported by, you know, 2x6s. So, you know,
You might be able to talk to building to get doing some temporary work.
I talked to Felix, and he basically said that he wanted to wait until we got through the planning board at this point. So I think if it's basically indicated that it's most likely that it will be approved, I just need to work through these issues, that he probably would be receptive to that. So,
I mean, if it's the type of thing where,
Get a short-
obviously, we have a couple things that Paula wants, a couple of city comments, and I don't disagree. We also like to see a site plan. Now, that timeframe might be tough in finding someone to draw it by next meeting, but let's say for the sake of argument, you can. We get department comments, we get the site plan. I'm sure Chantel can coordinate with Felix and tell him that the board would be appreciative in allowing whatever structural repairs you need to do in the interim
Yeah.
to get started, then I think the whole board would feel okay with that.
Because we don't want it to.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And I don't want our interim building commissioner is just that, he's interim and he's new. So I appreciate that he's waiting for us, but I also would rather that you get going with at least making sure the building's stabilized and that you're comfortable. I can't imagine, me personally, I would love to see this get going as soon as possible. It's really just getting over those two little hurdles, getting a site plan and getting that, and then,
You can't go with a building permit to actually like construct what you want to do from the interior, but I'm not clear on the process of like, you want to stabilize the building. And
Yeah,
it's like,
I-
it's more like other work like that or demo work, that type of thing is different.
I think to stabilize it, we would need to put the footings in and we'd need to start, you know, the structural framing. Like, that's what's really going to stabilize it. So I think if you guys are looking at the plans and you're generally saying, hey, these look good to us, I don't think we're going to deviate from those plans going forward with the permitting process. I don't think anything on the interior is going to change based on the curb cut. So obviously there's some level of risk to me that the DPW comes back and says, no, you can't do this curb cut here. But I think based on this discussion, I feel comfortable spending my money to start, you know, working on the interior just to stabilize the building, because I don't, you know, especially, you know, we know how much snow we get around here, so I don't want to, you know, face that risk. So, yeah, I think.
We've also granted 2 permits previously for the same thing. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they did something inside. I think there must have been a fire, because there's literally a hole half the size of this room that goes through every floor in the entire building.
There's no doubt that this building needs to get repaired, and we were excited about the prospect in 2017. I'm excited about the prospect now. You know, again, not speaking for the board, speaking for myself, I am 100% in favor of it. I think that, you know, once we get a plan in front of us, we get, you know, just all the specifics ironed out, the same way we did with, you know, some of the other stuff, some of the other plans, then I think you're good to go.
Let's ask if this is a public
Yeah.
hearing, so is there anybody in the audience that has any comments regarding this project, or questions or concerns? So just use the raise your hand function.
I got no comments.
Is there any means for a
Hold
conditional?
on, I do have a hand raised. Ready? Tim, you're unmuted. All you gotta do is, oh, you can hear me. All you gotta do is click the microphone and you should be able to talk.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes. I'm Tim Kihiko, and I own the house on 7 Taft Street, and I pass by there all the time. And I just wanted to say that I'm happy finally somebody is kind of really taking care of this building. And as one of the owners in the neighborhood, I really appreciate if we could help them out, get this building going so that it's gonna look like those features or close to that as much as possible. So I just wanted to say I completely support this project.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. Anybody from our virtual members, Lynn? Do you have any feedback?
No, I think everything's been covered by comments, and as always, I defer to Pete regarding architecture and design on landmark and Victorian houses in the area.
Okay. And Alex, do you have any other comments to add to the applicant?
No, I think I'm excited to see how this turns out. I think this is a great move.
So I think you have there's a general consensus that, you know, we do like to see the project forward. It's just that we need to get those, we need an actual site plan.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I can't actually condition a site plan on submitting a site plan.
Yeah, fair enough.
A piece of it, but also we need the feedback from the other departments. That's you know, whenever that occurs, they have 35 days to comment, and if they don't comment by the time the hearing should within that time frame, if they don't comment by then, we have to continue until we get the 35 days passes. Or with the sole commenter.
Okay, so, yeah, I mean,
So it'll be at our next hearing in January.
okay,
We can continue it
okay, perfect. So that's,
and then wrap up those pieces if you have any.
yes, so I guess just to clarify, I'm gonna go get the site plan taken care of,
Yes.
as possibly, hopefully I can get that before the next meeting. Assuming I can get that and the comments come back from the other departments, hopefully we should be able to, if everything lines up, get approval, full approval at the next meeting. In the interim, I understand, Chantel, you're gonna reach out to the commissioner and the commissioner and express the board basically okay with me proceeding with structural.
Yeah, I'm not sure the type of building permit you could issue, or what you can do per se. Like,
Yeah.
usually you need a site plan approval to pull a building permit.
But for what we can do,
What he can
Yeah,
allow you to do for, again,
Yeah.
securing the building and other things could be something.
Chantel can speak for the planning board and say that the planning board is ironing out some details, but would like to see the applicant do whatever structural repairs he needs to do if they're within the authority of the building inspector,
Right.
and then we'll go from there. You know, but I think so the one thing I just noticed, Chantel, and I should have mentioned this and I forgot, it crossed my mind. The one thing we don't have on our agenda tonight that we were supposed to was approving next year's meeting dates. Oh, we did?
Yeah.
23rd is.
Oh, that's right, because we changed, the September meeting because of the election. I forgot about that. So the 23rd, so we have, just refresh my memory, when's CDBG? 11. Okay, so the 23rd is our next regular meeting. Okay. And hopefully that gives enough time. I know
So
how difficult it is getting surveys done these
make sure
days,
you
so.
put the site plan, you put the curb cuts on there, roundings, you're gonna put the fencing on there, you're gonna put chain fencing, chain link, you're gonna have that labeled where that's going, you're gonna put where the vinyl trash is going, any other type of exterior units going in there.
Utilities as well.
Yep, should show where the utilities tie into the building, water line, sewer line.
And that site plan, obviously, I'm sure you get this by now, but that site plan approval serves as all of the stuff we were talking about today shown on the plan. So if there's ever any issues where we have something to go back on, that's why it's so important.
Paint color scheme. Something. And then we can vote to continue.
Make a motion to continue.
Motion's been made, second, give a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Alex? I didn't hear Alex. Alex?
Yeah, I said aye.
Okay, Alex, all those in favor say, all those opposed, say opposed. Okay, none. And we'll continue to the January 23rd meeting. And you just mentioned, I feel like 80 South Street. It's been bugging me about the neighbor's fence that looks so terrible next to your garage. Feel free to put up a vinyl fence or if you need to for that.
I'll talk to Tony about it. Yeah. I was out there last
Nice
week.
piece right there, and it's like,
I know.
it wasn't on the plan, but I don't want you, because it wasn't on a plan, I don't want it to deter you. You can still put a fence up.
Yep. Gotcha.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks so
Good luck,
much.
man. Great project.
All right. Our next hearing this evening is a special permit and site plan review. Martin's Family Properties LLC submitted a parking plan related to proposed use of a vacant three-family dwelling located at 112 Pleasant Street, zoning district RC. Mr. Martins?
All right, yep.
All right. So I just want to clarify that though it's submitted under a special permit and site plan review for this evening, the board is only acting upon the parking.
Okay.
We cannot, it's not within our authority to reinstate the use for three and any of the neighborhood is vacant now. So there was one of two options. There was a zoning determination that was issued for this proposal. It said if you actually renovate greater than 50% of the building, it's typically exterior, gutting, and all this other aspects of it, then you could actually obtain reuse through the building department with a site plan from planning. Albeit that if it's less than 50%, then you have to go to the zoning board of appeals for a special permit to reinstate the use for residential, however many units. Okay, so typically that's done first before we get here, because you're gonna get a special permit also from the ZBA, and they can ask for different things too. So we're just gonna clarify, go over your parking, pieces like that, because you should at least know how many parking spaces maybe you can get out of this to figure out your units when you go for your special permit.
All right.
And so we'll work with that.
This is the building, right?
Awesome.
Yes. All right, and here's your site plan.
Now, not sure if you saw some of my, I sent some comments to the office a week ago, but on it, I just want to state that, so parking generally, you can't use garage spaces unless they fit, I think it's 11 by 21, as counting as parking spaces.
Okay.
In the building ordinance. I can't even understand how you go perpendicular to that in that regard inside of.
Oh, you mean this one right here?
Yeah.
I wondered that as
can't
well.
Figure how you do that.
That one doesn't seem possible in real life. I don't know. I mean,
Maybe the first one.
especially looking at this, to go in there and then do a left-hand turn. I don't know. You can actually make that maneuver in the garage?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's enough space to do it. But actually, I don't need that space.
Mhm.
We don't have to count that one.
All right, let's start with how many units, how many bedrooms in each unit?
First floor has 2 units, 1 bedroom unit on the left. On the right side is 2 bedrooms.
The first was 2 units,
Yeah, the first 2 units, 1 bedroom, 2.
1 bedroom and 2 bedrooms.
The third unit on the second floor is 3 bedrooms.
So three
So
total,
5 spaces.
3 total units, 5 bedrooms, 6
Oh, wait
bedrooms.
a minute, 6, because it's not multifamily, so it's just 2 per unit.
Well, that's 6 bedrooms.
No, but it's 2 per unit anyway.
Oh, right, 2 times 3, right. Yep, because it's not by
I
bedroom.
know. Family count. Yeah, so you need 6 for 3 units.
Yeah.
So I think to your point, Paula, that the garage, the space, it's listed, I think they just took the parking space and put it in here 18 by 9. But even if you took out these 2 and we're okay with 2 tandem in the driveway, which you can see right here, 2 tandem in the driveway. These spot, and we have to talk about these spots, but there's 4 up here off street that don't actually back into the street, which is nice.
Yeah.
I do want to see Mount Globe. Is that stairwell? What's the condition of the stairwell?
There is no.
Oh, you're building that
Oh,
stairwell.
I'm building a retaining wall.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
and,
a- That's like a.
It's a big project.
I just assumed that stairwell was like, wow, that's gonna be a huge drop too. I mean, Mount Globe's way up above
It's
there.
like a slide.
Yeah, I think the plan showed probably gonna be a 7-foot wall.
14, 24, 34.
A 7-foot wall.
Yeah, I think on the other plan shows it's another plan in here.
Yeah.
Shows the drop, it shows
It's
everything.
30, it's almost 40 feet high, the total from this
Elevation.
line to here. All right.
Yeah, it's-
What am I looking at? Parking wall, retaining wall, this one?
Yeah. If you keep going,
This one right here?
there's another one there.
So it was stamped by an engineer.
Yeah.
So I have, that's all I have is unless it's in the narrative. No, it's not in the narrative. That's all I have. I have site plan unless it's underneath the site plan. Oh, nope.
Yeah, I think that's the one. I think that shows
There's elevations there.
the elevations in there.
So I guess the question is, how is the staircase to be constructed and of what material?
We have 2 options. Either I will do with the blocks, same material, or I can use PT. But I'm gonna have to every drop, I'm gonna have to have a little stand, drop it again.
Landing, yeah.
Yeah, landing. Looks like they have something there before on the sides. That's what I'm trying to do, the same thing they had it over there.
How long's the building been vacant? It is vacant, right?
Yeah, it's, when I bought it, I thought it was not vacant for over 2 years. But when I talked to building commissioner, he told me like, it's the definition, it's being vacant, like abandoned. He said, if it's someone stop paying the bank, we consider it abandoned. You know, and when I was looking at the house, you know, like, I talked to the neighbor, he said, oh, a couple of months ago, people was living in here. And I didn't know about the, you know, they can revoke an occupancy.
Yeah.
It was just like,
Many years ago, it used to be water shut off, but I think our prior building inspector had a,
you know, I talked to him, just said, you can challenge me, you can get all the documents, and you can just, you know,
Or go for the permits?
yeah, or you can just, you know, do what you have to do, and that's it.
do you know what Paula had mentioned, our chair had mentioned at the beginning of the meeting about 50% or more of renovations? Have you made that determination? Are you doing extensive interior
To be
renovations?
honest, the house doesn't need much. It's like the house is being renovated. They remove all the Hacienda over the years. Most of the trims being removed, especially on the second floor unit, was a complete gap. They redid the whole thing.
The reason why I say that is if you're going to the ZBA for a special permit, which is what, from your answer, it sounds like you have to do, they're going to have comments about this. They're going to have concerns about this. I watched enough ZBA meetings to know that this is going to be part of the conversation. So for us to condition it, then to go to ZBA, then to come back to us to condition it afterwards, isn't it easier just to go to ZBA, get your approvals, then come back to us for parking?
Well,
What do you think, Paul?
well, it would have been, but yeah, it's already on the agenda.
No, I know. I'm just saying we continue it and let that play out.
We could do that because we can just keep it open so that it's just open for when you go with the ZBA so that.
It's much more complex. I don't know if he knows this, but it's much more complex a process reinstituting that use of the ZBA than this parking site plan.
Yeah, no, I understand.
If he has us in his, like, if he has us when he goes to the ZBA, it's like, planning board's already seen this, they're okay with my parking,
Yeah.
like, let me do my thing.
Yep. It's a good point. Good point.
So we want us to see that it's like, you can say, all we can say is how many we're not even gonna say, it's like, you said you want 6, we're gonna see what you can fit for 6, right?
Okay.
It's up to them to determine how many units they want to allow with that
Yeah,
amount.
no, I understand. We're just looking through the parking right now. That's it.
I mean, I think the fact that he's got an engineer retaining wall,
Yeah.
is willing to spend all this work, I'm fine with him. I mean, the practicality of parking up there, I have some questions about it, especially during the winter.
Who's gonna shovel the staircase?
Ah, man. Coming
No,
in a snowstorm and going down those stairs.
You're gonna have to call like an Uber, just that, just have people come around and take them out of the staircase.
I mean, 9 months, 8 months out of the year, it's possible. We're talking
Or
about
if we have no more snow anymore.
80, yeah, right. I mean, we're talking about, let's see.
But
It's about
granted, you saw the torrential rains that we just got, that staircase has to hold up.
Oh, no, that's the reason why, I'm gonna get an engineer to give an update when everything's done.
And how else is he supposed to cut cars?
Mhm.
So it does have the property, it's just on there. And I'll say typically too, you have to be able to secure parking within 800 feet, that is within 800 feet as well.
Mhm.
It's on his own property.
I mean, I think the fact that he's willing to spend this kind of capital to do it says a lot. Again, you can have some issues with the practicality, but at the same time,
So see,
if he's willing to do this and they're gonna build this out, that's more than a lot of those houses in the neighborhood have anyway.
So
So,
the special permit aspect here could also be looking for if we have to waive anything. But go back.
oh, sorry, I was just pulling up the aerial.
Well,
Which one do you want?
that plan, but show the house with the driveway.
Yep.
Right, so
You want the one with the
I did
with
look
the
up,
cars?
I did look up in the registry of deeds so that each property, your running property to the right, you both have easements to use the driveway. Because I wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
everybody's got easements, otherwise you need to
Oh,
get
yeah.
an easement, right? So we want to check on that. So we checked on that. That looks okay. A consideration you might also want to make, since that's extensive work you're proposing up there, but whether or not, can you just make the driveway a little bit wider to the left so that you can actually fit another, car?
I couldn't, but it's like, I don't know, it just, came in my mind to do that, and I was like, I fall in love with the house. I like the details and everything.
It's a good looking house.
Yeah, my wife is like, just sell it. I said, no, I like it.
I have kind of a wild thought for you, but when I looked at your plan, it kind of immediately came to my mind. I know you're gonna spend a boatload of money building a retaining wall
Yeah.
out of blocks, and it's gonna be challenging to do that. Did you ever consider why not go for 8 parking spaces rather than 4? If you're gonna do 4, you're gonna have this amount of money spent. If you're gonna do 8, well, you might have that amount of money spent.
Be honest, I was planning doing 6 up there, but it's like, I don't know like the requirements. He said, oh, you can't back into the street. That's the reason why we did that way.
It would have to be, definitely have to be deeper.
Yeah,
What I'm thinking of is if you had additional parking spaces up there, that's really a neighborhood where people are looking for parking in
Yeah.
the winter. You could basically rent a parking space or 2 to someone.
if you go back in the Monte Globe and you see the neighbor, how he have his parking right next to it.
What did you want me to show you?
Oh, that picture, the picture.
No, not the picture. If you,
So I got that, we got, let's
yeah,
see,
look at,
hold on, I got about a million things open.
no, look at the, just go around and if you can go up and behind the house again,
Yeah, well,
you can see the neighbor, how the neighbor has his parking.
I can turn the 3D off here, the 3D stuff. Let's see what I can do this.
I was just saying it's a big expense for 4 spaces.
yeah, so how does it do that?
Oh,
Yeah,
right
it's-
there.
About 65,000.
Is that what you're talking about? They park on Mount Globe for that?
Yeah.
So here's the, oh, no, that goes with this property. That's the property record. This is the property record for that one. So they might use it, but they don't own that.
Oh, they don't own it?
So,
I
Doesn't
see.
doesn't look like it.
let's see.
And I think what they say about 50%, like the renovation, I think he talks about sprinkle the house.
Well, the sprinklers, the 3-family triggered the sprinkler system. We also needed to check with the fire department, if you haven't checked with the fire department, because depending on how much you renovate can trigger a sprinkler system.
Well,
50%.
Well, that's a ZBA thing anyway. That's
Well,
reinstituting
just
the
hope
use.
one now-
No, I hear you.
Because it's a-
Yep.
whether or not it triggers a
That's the reason why he mentioned in there the 50%. That's what triggers the sprinkler.
Yep.
sprinkler. So how does the neighbor park the car? You're talking the abutting neighbor you share the driveway with?
No, it's right behind their house.
So do they come off of Spring Street? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, they come off and in the,
Hold on, let me do
yeah,
this.
look when I'm
Let me,
putting the driveway.
hold on one second.
If you can do a
No,
street view, you'll be able to see it.
so this is Spring Street. This is,
Yeah, keep going.
oh, so you want to go up Mount Globe?
I'll go, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see
So
it.
like I said, he might park there, but it doesn't look like he owns those spaces. These ones right here.
Yeah.
So that's where they park?
Yeah,
According to the assessor record, that's a different parcel. That's this parcel right here.
I see.
So they might use it. Out of curiosity, who said you couldn't back out into the street? While I would prefer you not back out to the street, our bylaw expressly exempts single 2s and 3s, allowing them to back out into the
What's
street.
on the driveway?
36 feet.
Okay, so you could do 3.
To be honest, if I'd rather just do 6 parking spots up there.
6 is too long. Those are-
No, but it's the way it's in there now. Can I do like tender or no? Has to.
You have to stay under 36 feet wide.
So the curb cut.
The curb cut. Oh, I see.
So if they're 8 feet wide, you get 4 spaces.
Okay.
5 spaces would be 40 feet. Did someone expressly say you couldn't back out into the street?
That's what the guy was helping me.
Who?
Like told.
Building department or?
Be honest, I don't know. He reached out someone to the planning board and told him we cannot do that.
Because I do think generally speaking, it's not.
We want to avoid, we do want. it does tend to-
And I was like,
It's a
we kind of backing into the street, so I was in shock. But I said, just give them what they want, and just be happy.
But I was just being clear with you that while I appreciate the plan you're doing, it's not entirely out of the question because our bylaw does allow it. But I think that in a perfect world, if you can do what you're doing, stairs and whatever else, I mean, quite honestly, and I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but I think the stairs are unnecessary, meaning I don't think people are gonna use them anyway during the winter, which is the real problem. And if the other houses, like his neighbor parks on Mount Globe and they walk around, or they have a friend drop them off, or whatever the case would be, I just don't know how practical those stairs are. You're gonna build those stairs, even if someone shovels them, what do you get, 10, 15 years out of those stairs? And then they're destroyed. Then, you know, I mean, it'll be a permit condition that they have to maintain them, but
So the thing about, as designed right now with the parking, you have the fence isn't pretty well in that space. You've got to remove the fence, of course.
Yeah.
And create the opening. You've got to make sure that the fence is still, like, a fence is still there.
Yeah.
But probably an indoor, whether or not, you know, we put landscaping in that spot. What's that? Is it showing?
yeah, I don't know where.
No, it's not, the curb cut, I think, shows only
There's a
20 feet.
there, but I don't know how close it is.
Yeah, no, it's-
Way down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, we
Um,
did feel with it.
It's there. No, it doesn't show it there. Well, parking.
I mean, unless it's down here, I don't know.
Yeah, so right now it's still showing the chain link fence going across the opening, so. Did that. And the wall, and then it's like, I know it's 9 by 18. And then it's like, you would have to, it's like, what is the fencing or the guardrail is gonna be shown on? Decide what the cliff is, you know,
Oh.
on top of the wall.
On the top of the wall, actually, I'm gonna build up and put a fence over, so if a car comes in, it's gonna stop. They can't go.
Cause that's,
On the cliff.
is that still gonna be a pitch?
No, I don't think it's gonna be, it's gonna be pitched this way, so, you know, like.
Very mild.
They're very
If you're
mild,
building a
yeah.
retaining wall
Yeah.
up, you obviously want it to drain away
That's
from
what
the
I'm-
street, but
Yeah,
but you don't want it to sheet flow into your house
yeah.
either, or the neighbor's
So
houses
that's,
for that
so we
matter.
need a depiction of what you're putting on top of the wall. It's like how tall, it's like you're gonna, it's like the retaining wall is gonna
It's
itself.
gonna extend it.
end up
It's gonna
and be-
extend over the hot top. It's
Yeah,
probably,
The code's gonna come into play there too.
Yeah.
It's gonna need a fence or.
yeah, it's gonna be a fence.
Guardrail.
Guardrail. I mean, going back to what we were talking about earlier, you know, it's the type of thing where ideally that parking lot's mostly flat
Yeah,
with a very mild pitch, so it grades off. And if it's mostly flat, you don't have to necessarily worry about someone sliding down it. So if it's mostly flat, you have, you know, a wooden guardrail built in, and then like a 4-foot, like we talked about in the last one, vinyl coated chain link fence to keep someone from falling over themselves. I think Mr. Donnelly had a comment. Paul, maybe you were.
Some public comment, Mr. Donnelly?
I think you ought to go back to the drawing board and get rid of the garage, and put your parking directly behind the house rather than on the Mount Globe. Taking out the material has a cost, and bringing in new material has a cost, but I think they offset each other. You gotta build a wall either way.
yeah, I actually have the option to keep the garage, you know, like just remove the behind the garage. So it'll be like a carport, the car can go in and park, but it's still, I gotta put a retaining wall there no matter what.
You gotta build a retaining wall.
Yeah.
So that's, I already looked every single, you know,
I will say, what Mr. Donnelly was saying was, it's safer for you.
Yeah.
It's more probable that your tenants are gonna do it. Even if you have to dig into that hill and build a retaining wall, at least you're creating something that's usable to you, much more usable to your site. I think if you have to do parking, and that is feasible, I didn't even think of that. If that is feasible, then you might be better off. Your cost might be more or less the same or similar, but you have a much better product in the end. You have much better for your tenants, much more saleable to, you know, when you decide to sell it. I mean, because I do have, like I said, I appreciate that you're gonna put them up there, and if you find out that it's not financially feasible to do behind your building and you wanna do up there, it's better than nothing. Meaning, it's better than what's there now and what your neighbors have and everything else. But I do question how January, February, March, how many people are gonna use that? In the summer, I think it's probably not a problem.
It's still a lot of stairs.
Right.
It's.
That's why I see
And I
the
think
stairs
with
are.
the expense of doing that, I do like the alternative to think about is, like, if you do have to put the retaining wall and create just that.
Yeah,
little bit
no,
more
it's,
space. And similarly, we could get one more space in the front of the driveway there, if we can't get it in the back, if you have to shift it, just to create a little bit more.
I don't know how experienced you are in some of these matters, but I'm in real estate for a living. I'm an appraiser. I think you're underestimating the cost of those stairs. I think that, forget about the retaining wall and doing that correctly, and forget about the parking lot and doing that correctly. Keeping and maintaining those stairs, and a permit, like Paul had said, a permit condition, if those stairs exist, would be to keep them clear and maintained. Just your shoveling of that is gonna be crazy. I mean,
One nice morning, somebody's gonna get seriously hurt.
yeah, I'll be honest.
And then I'll just toss this out there. It's like, I look like, if you can get it all on, at that one level, great. But minimally, if you can get like 3, it's like if you can get 1 per each unit, and then you do 1 per each unit at the top, like a reserve, so you actually have 1 per each unit, and then they have the other 3, 1 per each unit on Mount Globe Street, so that people can get there.
Yeah,
Or,
I can,
so it's not
the
like.
people
oh,
can't
sorry,
give a ride back,
You
yeah.
have to go on Mount Globe Street, but at least each one has one.
yeah. Yeah, no,
That
that's,
might be
that's
something
doable.
the ZBA
Yeah.
I'm not sure how the ZBA would like look
Yeah.
at that, per se, from a permit perspective, but.
without speaking to what they're gonna do, speaking what we would do if we controlled the use, part of the conversation would be, well, if you're gonna do this parking so far away, and if they question the practicality of that, which I do to a certain degree, but if we were controlling the use like the ZBA is, and we question the practicality of that, they might say, okay, you can get 2 spaces or 3 spaces on the Pleasant Street side, so that's gonna dictate how many units you can get. That's why I think it's important, if you follow something like what Mr. Donnelly was saying, where if you can have it directly behind the building, there's no question. If you can have it directly behind the building and you can get it, access to it, then it becomes a much easier conversation of you can actually show the parking.
Right.
I'm just warning you that this might come up because we're not dealing with the use. As of right now, the number of units don't come into play for us. It's just how many parking can you
So if we
feasibly get?
If we condition, like, to say it's assigned to whatever separate units, that could be overridden by the other board. So that's why it's like something where if you're just showing, hey, you've got 6 parking spaces and they're all saying this easy, like that. But other than that, some different alternatives may have different outcomes because of the practicality of it.
Yeah, no, I understand.
We want this to be smooth for you as
No,
possible too.
I'm willing to listen, to everybody, because, different eyes see different things, and, you might have a thing that I miss looking or something, like he said, like maybe.
This is why I brought it up earlier about doing the ZBA first, because we could theoretically say, okay, you can get 3 spaces, or 2 or 3 spaces on Pleasant Street. You can get at least 4 spaces on the new lot on Mount Globe. So you have parking for 5 or 6 spaces or whatever we end up determining. I think it's destined to have further conversation with them to potentially come back to us anyway. So that's why I still feel that it's better for them, for everyone, for the applicant, for the ZBA, for us, to let that part play out first, have them say, you need parking for X amount of cars, and we determine where that parking is. Although I'd venture a guess the ZBA is gonna wanna determine that as well. But.
Well, it's interesting because if it was a multifamily, it would only be 5, potentially. Or depending on the number of bedrooms. They say it's 1, 1, and 2. So there's some things in public comments. Anybody in the audience? We have some.
I don't have any hands
We also
raised.
have some DPW comments. Chantel can forward to you, we got them on Friday. They were applicant to please reach out to engineering for curb cut permit. Can the applicant explain how they are going to handle stormwater runoff? Appears the pavement will be pitched towards the existing building with retaining wall. How does the applicant propose to keep the retaining wall in place and mitigate the erosion from the stormwater runoff? Can the applicant provide details of retaining wall for the proposed pavement area? So some of that, I guess whether or not there's drainage also in with that. Depending the size and height requirements of the retaining wall, does the applicant propose to contact the building department? So the question would be, with the retaining wall, have you spoken with the building department about what you're proposing?
No, to be honest, I spoke with engineering. I went there and explained what I want to do. And he explained to me what I need to do and everything. And I asked him, okay, could you show me, like on the GIS, a house like this? He spent 45 minutes, couldn't find anything. He said, like you can't touch the city hot top, has to be concrete, the first 5 feet or something. I don't remember. But
So building is very involved in the retaining wall piece.
Yeah.
So we need to touch bases about whether or not that plan that you had done passes muster, does it include the stormwater pieces in it? Is it, where's anything else that needs to be done in regards to that? Think about the things we've talked about today about, can you, a couple of things. You could probably do within the 36 feet maximum width for a driveway.
Yeah.
Because it's a 3-family, you can actually back out, but you can only probably up to 4 spaces. And up on Mount Globe Street. And then on the bottom area, it's like whether or not you can eliminate the parking at all in Mount Globe. So you can see if you can do something with the garages to try to, in the back or retaining wall there, just put the 6 spaces that you were looking
Yeah, I might
for.
take a second look and see it,
Or maybe
if
get
it's
5
practical
spaces.
too.
I'm going to tell you, having done this for many years and having watched many meetings that aren't our meetings, other boards' meetings, your life becomes much easier if your parking is directly next to the building. Because like I said, if we were instituting use, the predominant question would be how practical are those spaces? And I do have some questions about that. But, if you come back and you say it can't be done, the spaces have to be up here and down there, then we look at what's in front of us, we vote on what's in front of us, and we let the ZBA handle the reinstituting of
At the
use.
same time, you should apply to the ZBA.
Okay.
And because other than that, we can also just, whatever you decide, continue it till they do their piece where we keep the hearing open and whatever feedback we can work with you on the site plan piece so that it's already in it.
I don't know how busy they are, but their hearings are before us usually, so their next hearing is usually, I think, the second Tuesday. But I can't say if you'd be on their agenda, you should talk to them sooner rather than later.
Okay.
To figure out when you.
Yeah, I'll try to come here tomorrow and see if we can,
Talk to Mercedes in the building department.
okay, see if we can get in the next meeting and get this thing moving.
Mhm. It will behoove you if in a perfect world, you're in front of them before us next month, so you get some direction. And even if we have to work in tandem, maybe we can do that. But I think that they're going to have a lot more questions than we are, on top of the questions we're throwing at you now.
Right. It's like, cause it's like, other than that, it's like looking at trying to, you would have to come back with some additional materials for this anyway. We still haven't got feedback we only have feedback from DPW, so we're waiting for other comments. On that, but also it's like, you want to eliminate the, the perpendicular piece there and say, hey, no, I just want you to vote on what I have here. We could do that, or it's otherwise, it's going to come back if any changes.
Yeah, let's do this. We
can try to work.
Yeah, I'm gonna apply for ZBA, see if we can get the next meeting. And I'll work it on, get the second plan, doing the parking behind the house.
Mhm.
And that way, by then, I'll see if it's gonna work or not. And I'll have both plans and I say, I'd like to vote on this.
Yeah, I do want to tell you that I appreciate a couple things. That you provided us a registered plan, which is amazing. That you had an engineer retaining wall, which is amazing. So you have done your homework, and I think that I know me personally, when we have uses that are sitting vacant, I want to see them reused. We want to make them a little bit better when we can with parking, but I definitely want to see them reused. So I mean, like I said, me personally, not this board, but me personally, I think that it's, you know, whatever we can do to make that happen, your life becomes easier if you make it easier, especially if you can get those parking spaces behind there. Yeah, no, I agree.
Answer this, if you could provide, and we'll give you those DPW comments, but answer those stormwater comments and pieces and say, you know, this is what I'm gonna do. I want to go with this plan. That's what the plan is, what we'll look at. But I want to give you some options there.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And we'll continue it. So you'll be on our agenda next month, which is the 4th Tuesday.
Yeah, and we appreciate you working on this project.
Yeah. Okay, I'll get it done.
Make a motion to continue.
All right, thank you.
With a second, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right. All those opposed say opposed. All right, continued.
And I will mark you down for an assist on that one. All right.
So our next agenda item, we have a repetitive petition request from ZBA. It's 202. Our applicant was RPN Real Estate Investment Group, requesting the planning board vote contest approval by the zoning board of appeals of a repetitive petition for a two-family located at 133 to reestablish an existing dwelling use as a two-family located at 133 Cedar Street in the zoning district of RB. So the applicant has requested withdraw, probably without prejudice.
I'll make a motion to grant the applicant leave to withdraw without prejudice.
A motion's been made.
Second that motion.
There is a second. I'm going to take a roll call vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Alex?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Tracy? Aye. Paula? Aye. 133 Cedar Street. All right. Our next hearing this evening is a special permit and site plan review. Nakoro Inc., Mr. Lamoureux submitted plans for a proposed miniature golf facility, a commercial outdoor recreation located at 299 Lunenburg Street in the zoning district C, a commercial zoning district.
What would you guys like up?
This was previously approved, I think, as a self-storage facility.
Yes, I was gonna get there. We had to switch. So Paul, if you don't mind.
Yeah, whatever you
The layout materials plan, so sheet 2.
Oh, so that one?
Yeah, it's in the plan set, so go down one more. Yep, that one. So just for the record, Justin Leclerc, McCarty Engineering, here tonight with the owner, Rob Lamoureux, for the proposed outdoor recreation facility that you see in front of you. So like Paula said, we were in front of the planning board previously for a self-storage facility. Due to unforeseen circumstances, change in the market, you would say, we looked at different options for different business to come into the city. Mr. Lamoureux, through his due diligence, determined that an outdoor recreational facility with a 18-hole mini golf course based in this area would bring in new business to the city. So we worked alongside Mr. Lamoureux as well as Harris Mini Golf, who designed the course itself, to come up with the site plan in front of you tonight. So with this, we're maintaining the existing curb cuts that are there right now on Lunenburg Street. You can see them striped at the front Perfect. So the entrance located on the right-hand side will be two-way in and out. The entrance or the drive aisle on the left-hand side of the plan will be exit only, and that'll be a right-hand turn only. That'll be noted with directional arrows, sign, as well as a stop bar. And then we're proposing to pulverize the existing pavement on site and repave it within the limits shown. So we do show the limits of bituminous concrete berm. These parking spaces will be striped as well. We're proposing 73 per the zoning ordinance. There's no set number of parking. It's by discretion of the planning board. Based on our research, we determined 73 ideally for peak, call it peak summer.
How many employees though,
22 to 24.
at one time?
Not at one, no. the
Rotation.
So at the most 7.
At the most 7, plus, well, food trucks for the milk truck.
Yes. So that, and we are showing 3 ADA accessible parking spaces, as well as an accessible landing spot and accessible bituminous walkway up to the proposed 1,000 square foot building, which would be the base of operations for both the mini golf facility as well as the recreational facility. Like I said previously, the mini golf facility was designed by Harris Golf. This course is fully ADA accessible, all 18 holes. There's some, Mr. Lamoureux found that only allowed half of it to be ADA accessible. So he wanted to design something that someone can go and fully enjoy and not have to pay only half or only be part of half. So that's on the right-hand side. Within there, there's a mix of trees, shrubs, perennials, and other plantings that will be incorporated into the mini golf course. And then on the left-hand side, yep, right where you were, yep, right in there. So where the cursor is right now is a proposed pavilion that will be used for different outdoor recreational events, a gathering place.
Shade structure.
Shade structure.
Picnic benches, that sort of thing.
Yes. The intent of the facility is, along with the mini golf course, to be able to sell ice cream, to be able to sell beer. So we're giving the customers a place that they can congregate, partake in any activities that are there during that time. There'll be outdoor games such as cornhole, the typical yard games that you see, as well as a food truck that's located towards the top of the page. That will be run separately. Mr. Lamoureux will have different vendors come in at different times, so there's always a variety of foods. And then in addition to that, there will be porta potties located at the back. There will be a bathroom inside the proposed building that would be for the employee use only. This,
Yeah, questions about that.
yes. The entire facility will be surrounded with a fence, chain link.
4-foot black vinyl fence.
So that's the layout materials plan. If you want to go down one page to the grade and drainage utility, I'll speak quickly to that just so you can see.
Is this what you want?
Yep. So as I stated, the existing pavement on site will be pulverized and it'll be repaved in place. So we're maintaining existing grades as close to what is there as possible. The only grade change is occurring where the proposed mini golf facility and outdoor recreational area is. And you can see the grain around that mound. I just want to make note to the planning board that we are within floodplain, but we are providing the required compensatory storage. Utility-wise, there are lighting proposed around the parking area as well as the mini golf course facility, which was provided within the mini golf course design. The building will be serviced by sewer, water, and electric. The sewer and water will tie into the existing stubs on site, and electric will be connected from the existing pole located on Lunenburg Street through a riser. Drainage wise, we're actually reducing the impervious on site by approximately 25,000 square feet. Per the Mass Stormwater, excuse me, per the Mass Stormwater handbook, this project is considered a redevelopment. So we aren't providing any additional stormwater BMPs on site. The reduction in impervious pavement on site provides a natural mitigation of the pre-post numbers, as well as providing natural stormwater quality treatment. By reducing the impervious on site and providing more pervious, we're actually providing additional recharge to the groundwater on site.
Have you seen the DPW comments?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. We are maintaining the existing catch basins that are located towards the front of Lunenburg Street. Actually, with yesterday's rainfall events, they were inspected and the site received no flooding and the drainage structure was actually working well.
No bonding either.
Very well. So we did receive comments both from the plan board as well as DPW and engineering. If you want, I can run through those quickly. I didn't find any of them to be unreasonable or anything.
Do you want him to address all of them, or can we just say that as long as they're satisfactory? Are there any in specific that we want to go over?
Oh, yeah, I want to go over all the pieces that I
No,
kind of pointed out.
I know, I meant the DPW comments.
Oh, the DPW.
My point is, can we just say,
Well,
they've already seen them, unless there's any that you want to talk about specifically?
Sewer department recommends applicant install backflow preventer on lateral that connects to the square manhole at the 10-foot 5-inch. Clean out, please reach out to sewer department. Can the applicant confirm if a curb stop will be installed, a mechanical joint cap, 2-inch tap? Has the applicant reached out to water department for recommendations where they would like the shutoffs to be installed? Can the applicant specify if the proposed water service is supposed to be 2-inch or 1-inch? Plans show 2-inch tap to a 1-inch copper pipe service?
So I can speak to that one very quickly. The existing service on site is a 6-inch water service. Speaking with Pipe Plus out of Leominster, you can actually get an MJ cap to fit over that. That has a 2-inch thread at the end of the cap. So there's either two options. We can push that 2-inch thread down and service the 1-inch. And I actually spoke to Pipe Plus prior to this meeting. And one of the owners actually thought they had a 1-inch, a cap with a 1-inch thread. So he would have to check that for me. But either way, it would be a cap that would either get pushed down to a 1-inch service or it'd actually be a 1-inch thread. The understanding at the time of the plans being submitted was that they only had 2-inch threads. So we'd have to push it down to a 1-inch copper service.
If the water department and/or fire department deem the need for fire suppression system or service line, please reach out to the water department on standards and separate fire service line to the existing water main. We have fire suppression.
The building's only 1,000 square feet, so I don't believe we'll need fire suppression. I know at the technical meeting, they were gonna get back to us just in case something was needed.
Yeah, fire prevention wasn't there.
Yeah.
Just follow up with them.
Excavation is needed in the right of way. This includes the existing sewer easement. Applicant shall use city bonded contractor. That's pretty standard condition. Plans indicate SMH under snowbank. Was this manhole able to be accessed recently?
No, so as part of, excuse me, as part of that sewer connection, we would verify the condition of that sewer service. If it had to be replaced at the time, we would, and we'd also coordinate that with the sewer department.
Was the applicant able to find the sewer manhole located on a 10-inch BC sewer line within the easement?
That one, I don't believe we found yet. That'll be the same thing. We'll verify that prior to construction.
What does the applicant plan to do for stormwater management for the parking area on the east side of the lot? Plans do not show any catch basins in the bituminous asphalt area on the east side.
That's what you're talking about with the.
Yes, so the overall project is a reduction of 25,000 square feet.
True, but what do you plan on without having water? Is it going to be pitched slightly? Is-
We're maintaining, so on that drainage plan where on the left-hand side, yep. So we're only grading up by the mound. We're maintaining existing grades everywhere else. So that water does, as of yesterday, it'll still do that. In regards to the stormwater BMPs, like I said, we're a pure redevelopment in this case with our reduction of impervious, and we are bettering stormwater on site by reducing peak flows coming off with the reduction of impervious. And then we're providing additional recharge to the groundwater by swapping that to pervious.
Does the applicant know what catch basins on the north side of the property tie or dispense into? Plans show a configuration of 5 structures that feed into one another with no invert out.
Which one do you want?
Oh, yep. So if you scroll down a little bit more, Paul. Yep. So right where the retaining wall is on the right-hand side, there's a series of catch. Yes.
Okay.
So there's a series of catch basins that all tie in. From what we could gather, our understanding is that it would make the most sense that drains to a 24-inch line on the left-hand side of the property, which is MassDOT's line from Lunenburg Street. But regardless of that, whether it ties in there or goes off to the other side of the property, it all eventually gets down to the Flula Brook. So based on yesterday's rainstorm, those catch basins weren't backing up, they weren't flooding, there was no ponding around them.
This might be a stupid question, but there's no combined sewers in Lunenburg Street, is there?
No, I believe Lunenburg Street's been separated.
I only asked because you said it's MassDOT. If it was a city one, I'd be curious, but.
No, I believe Lunenburg's been separated, obviously, Nick and Jefferson.
Yeah, they're fine. They're not on, but I'm sure that they would have that question, especially if you're tying in drainage into one of our services.
Yeah, and I would say as the previous approval, the engineer didn't have any issues when we were tying that in. So since we're proposing no tie-ins, I would expect them not to have an issue.
Engineering recommends the applicant CCT the existing drainage infrastructure to confirm if the existing piping is still in working condition. This will also confirm how the system is tied together and is working efficiently. Please conduct the inspection with the City of Pittsburgh engineering representative present. Please coordinate with the engineering department.
Based on yesterday's rainfall and seeing it, I'd like to follow up with engineering. I did send pictures of the site in the middle of the rain event to Nick Erickson so he could see. But
Still see if they want this.
exactly, I'd still follow up just to say, hey, this is what it did. Do we still need to verify this?
Please reach out to the water department directly for details and approval of the details of
Megalove?
what was it? The rod connections for water main and existing utility crossing. I think that's it for the comment.
Yep, for that one. And then, as I said, we did receive comments from the planning board.
From Paula.
Yeah, I probably, yes, and that's before I kind of scrutinize it a little further. I have some additional ones, but you can.
So regarding the driveways, as I stated earlier, we're maintaining to leave them as existing. The biggest reason being, excuse me, any alteration of those curb cuts because they're on Lunenburg Street, which is MassDOT jurisdiction, would require approval from MassDOT, even if it's to straighten them, shrink them, any alteration. Those curb cuts have been there since the Thunderbird was in there. They've been used since the Thunderbird was there, demolished. They were used as part of Ron Bouchard's fleet storage. So we're not proposing to change those. So we're not altering the sight lines. We're not altering traffic's still going to come out. Based on our technical meeting,
The one that shows the travel lanes.
yes. So Travel lanes were brought up in the technical meeting as well. We did take in the police chief's comments. We took in everyone's comments regarding the best way to do this. And this was the solution we came up with. So, as I said, on the right-hand side, you have an in and out, your typical two-way entrance. You have two-way access up at the top to get to the 2 parking fields. And we're only making the one on the left-hand side a right turn only. I know the police chief had us look at making only right turn only out of Lunenburg Street. The issue with doing that is at some point, either people are going to ignore it, or if someone really wants to get back to John Fitch Highway and get to that intersection, they're gonna go up the road, pull into someone else's area and turn around, come back.
So I don't understand why it's a right turn only there. I see there's gonna be confusion.
Yep.
This type of a business, is it like a drive-in theater coming out where you've got, massive amounts of traffic moving the site? It's like, can it just stay with the gate and just the traffic go up through the main area without promoting that other, or are you gonna have 2 just ins and outs scenario?
So
What will that do, making sure like when people coming in, that people coming around the corner don't?
Can I speak to that? So I'd be in favor of doing that, just having the in and out in that one spot.
Keeping the
So
gate.
long as I don't have to rip out budget is the big reason. If we had to do a major change as far as that other out, that's the right turn only, that'd be the only challenge. But having that gate go across there and blocking it off so nobody goes out there.
It's just more, you have to put some kind of.
As the merchant signage, yep.
Drive in and go, I got the gate, and I have to figure out how to let them around. So you gotta figure out how to keep them from going into that.
Yeah, and if-
kind of setback.
And if the board's open to that, I think it would also appease both police and fire if that one was made only as emergency access. So we can gate it, we can put a Knox box on it.
Yeah, if you had, especially if you had, especially if you had the box where it was accessible for emergency vehicles, I think that'd be fantastic. You set it back, like Paula said, you set it back far enough where people won't hit the gate first when they pull in, but also signage on the outside that's do not enter.
Do not enter, emergency access only.
Yeah, I think, because so I know that
Or
chief,
even at the street, you have to put enter down, like so people, I mean.
Yeah, and that was-
Gate forward, if the gate's staying in its current state, that's gonna be, I don't think people will visibly see that. They're just gonna like start to turn into a place.
No, and we did, if you went down just a little bit, so where you see the right turn only arrow, yeah. So on the opposite side of where it's striped, we do have a do not enter sign. So we could, at the street, so go to the left. Keep going to the left.
Oh, right there first. right
oh,
there.
oh, I see now, oh,
So
I
it's
had
two-
it cut off.
Yeah,
Proposed do not enter sign, yeah.
yeah, so we, as part of that, we did make sure it was signed that don't pull in here.
Yeah, I mean, and you could even, so this crosshatch is just yellow stripe, right?
Yeah.
You could even yellow stripe that just across that whole area. And that might give people, especially if you're coming from the other way, of course, you'll see the gate if you're coming from the other way and you're going slow. But I think it solves a lot of problems. I know the chief had said right turn only there. And I know we talked about that when we met with EDTF, but my first thought when I saw this was people coming out of that parking area, they're gonna see that first arrow pointing forward and they're gonna wanna go that, your inclination when you're leaving is to stay right. So they're gonna wanna go there. And then, as you said, the problem that we run into all the time is even if it's a right turn only, people are gonna have to make that left. And as soon as people start doing that and you have conflicting traffic 100 feet down the street, that causes a problem. So
Unless it's actually a physical, like, angle of right, like, you have to.
And that's the idea in this case with the hatching. It was to,
Yeah,
because you typically don't drive over.
it doesn't work in the wintertime, that muzzle either. I mean, when you cover over the hatching, it's.
Yeah.
It's not like a mechanical thing. you can do.
But
Yeah, I like that.
I think making that an emergency access only, again, takes away the major traffic.
that would be easterly most or northerly most? I don't know where you're, hold on, let me look. Do you have your?
The arrow's going North Arrow's going down in this
Okay,
case.
So it's easterly most.
Yeah.
We've done enough of the site plans that kind of like, that exactly that scenario would occur as you were describing.
Yes,
So
so
we want to not go that. If it was a different type of a business where you're gonna have lots of cars all at once leaving and you need two buses and, but I think you can stand, you've got plenty of room to queue
yeah. Yeah, I like that.
on the main driveway.
Yeah, I think that solves a lot of problems. That's a good idea.
So
In fact, let's see, something small. The dumpster location, typically we don't like to see them that like far up. It's like, can
Yes.
you just move it parking spaces towards the back?
Can I
But
speak
no,
to-
not the hammerhead turn, but actually it's
you can,
So we did actually have it towards the back. The only reason why we pushed it forward was a couple of reasons. One, just thinking about the nature of this business, it's going to be young kids working there. I was thinking about my daughter working there at night. It's dark out. The last thing she's going to want to do is to bring the trash all the way to the back corner of the property. Because to go from that building to the back corner, we'd be at least 225 feet to bring the trash. This is tucked behind a tree, and then we're going to have the vinyl enclosure going around it as well. It's still 125 feet. It's a pretty large property to get from the building to the trash. But I was just looking for an alternative, just thinking if I was, my daughter, the last thing they're going to want to do at night is walk to the back side of the property when it's dark out. And in the nature of the business where, we're going to have be serving ice cream, we're going to have to make sure the trash is taken out and put into the trash bins.
so to speak a little bit more on that, accessibility, it's quicker for the trash vehicle to come in instead of driving all the way to the back of the property and then try and turn around, come out. He can pull right in, back right out and leave. But at the end of the parking field on the left-hand side where you see the two circles that denote the number of spaces.
Yes.
Yep. So that is not closed off or curbed. The reason being is to provide access for both the food truck that comes
Yeah, I was
into
gonna
the,
ask how, because it doesn't show on the plan how you actually,
so,
going through the gate there, or like really what's the.
so that's all.
terrain, What's going on?
So that's all existing pavement back there. As part of this project, we're not
So
proposing.
that's still paved all the way to the gate?
Yes. So see the gray line? Yeah. So that's the edge of the existing pavement. So what we're proposing is within the dark lines, we're going to pulverize that limit of pavement and repave over it. But the existing pavement on site, which wraps around
So
the,
you're gonna pave like from the end over to that, so you have pavement that goes through the gates?
no, we're going to maintain we're going to leave existing pavement there.
It's just the piece in front of the gate. So then what's the terrain as you're leaving the parking lot to get to the gate, to the existing pavement? What's there?
So you're talking from where,
See the little hammerhead, the end, the.
yeah, so little hammerhead,
Yeah.
that's going to be new bituminous
Right,
pavement?
but then when you leave that
Yes.
and you're going, see the dash
This
line
might,
over there, and then you're going.
this might give you a better idea.
Okay.
So this is the aerial of existing pavement. So this is the side, we're just flip your view the other way because it's upside down. So Ron Bouchard's on the other side of the street up here, north. And this is where the Thunderbird was, and this was the parking area. So the new parking area, actually, it looks like,
Okay, still pavement there. It's
You're
just
right.
not showing on the plan like that it's like, well, there's vegetation there. So are you gonna connect the pavement so that?
sorry.
You're just driving on the end to the,
You're driving pavement, yeah,
just gonna be pavement to pavement.
pavement to pavement.
I just,
Yes.
I'm just like, it's not
just,
depicted.
I mean, it's just the pavement in the back is kind of deteriorated, but it's gonna be,
It's not meant to be main access for
But are you we're gonna pave over that to fix that up?
within the parking limits. So what the customers will be driving on will be,
So no, but.
But not with the food truck?
But not with the, that's what I'm saying. So the food truck's gonna have to go over the sand and stuff
Yes.
there to get to the pavement inside. Or you're gonna put crushed, like,
Well, it's going to be, so where the gate is or where the gate is, you can see that the pavement actually stops. That's all going to be crushed gravel, compacted gravel for it to be able to drive up.
Yes.
So I'm saying you're gonna put compacted gravel.
Yeah.
from where the
Yes.
Pavement ends to get to the gates. Like,
Yes,
what if the
so-
people driving over?
Yes.
I didn't want him going to sand.
No.
And then, this is what I'm trying to.
I thought you were talking about at the end of the proposed parking area.
Well,
It's
yeah, well, at
pavement.
the end, but, like, you're paved up to that, but then you're gonna have crushed stone.
Yeah, new
and then
pavement.
Meet the existing pavement that's going into the back.
Yes, new pavement to old pavement to crushed stone.
Yeah. Okay.
So going back to the trash receptacles.
Yep.
The other, ideally, we'd like to leave them there. The other potential option Mr. Lamour and I talked about was potentially adding a little bit more screening on the opposite side of the sewer easement. So where they are right now, you can see that dashed line that cuts across the page.
Yeah, right at the sewer.
Yeah. Yep. So we don't want to propose any screen within that in the event DPW has to come in and tear it up. So what we would propose is where that existing tree is, if you go down a little bit and to your left. Yep, that one and the 6-inch twins there.
Yep.
Potentially some massing of evergreens just to obscure that from the street.
Okay.
That, instead of, again, moving them all the way back, the valid concerns that the client has regarding safety of employees working there. But
Well, from the street view, and I leave this to the board too, from the street view, looking at it, it's set far back enough, as long as that large tree that's there kind of blocks a good.
Yeah, the tree does block most of that.
All right, let me get in line with this.
Like that.
So this is the second entrance. This is this gate right here shown on this plan. Here's the big tree, which is this one right here. And then you have this tree back here, which is, of course, the dumpsters would be back a little bit further.
yeah, so you can see the edge of pavement.
Yep.
They would pretty much be at that corner.
So
the left of that light
edge
pole.
of pavement is roughly new edge of pavement.
Yeah, we're trying to pulverize in place of, within the limits of the existing pavement.
Say you just put a few evergreens like in front of the vinyl, say like along the edge there.
Yeah,
Some green giants.
yeah, just because I also understand the board's point of they're in the front, you're gonna see them.
Evergreens in the sewer easement, because that sewer easement runs right up to edge of pavement.
No, and that's why I was thinking if you do it more
Right here.
there and then potentially on the other side where the twin 6 inches are.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I'm pulling it up. So this is,
Is that?
these are the twins that he's talking about
Yeah,
right
That's
here.
still there?
What? Yeah.
yeah, and there's no.
This was August 2023, this
What is
picture.
that?
What do you mean?
Bush.
It's a, yeah,
Yeah, it's twin 6 inch trees.
Oh.
Haven't been taken care of.
yeah, I mean, I suppose right here.
Yeah.
Right here, right on the other side of that.
Easement. And
You don't have to
then,
worry about blocking sidelines, not that it would anyway.
Well, unless you really want to see down that way, so is it, as long as it's providing enclosure, is what?
I was okay with it, like, I understood, I talked to Rob earlier, because I had told Paula, one of my first suggestions was move it back here to the end of the parking lot.
Well, I
And-
see there to the left, yeah.
Yeah, or here, yeah, you're right. The other thing I thought about the other day when Paul and I had this conversation was if they're in parking spaces anyway, create 2 parking spaces here and move it like here, so it's further away from the street, but closer.
but the trucks
Yeah.
Able to get the trash truck in there is a
for
challenge.
that swing. And that's why they're there,
Mhm.
is they can drive in and just pretty much drive straight into them.
Yeah. Like I said, the more I thought about it, I suppose I get it. As long as the enclosures are maintained, then, you shouldn't.
Yeah, and the massings would be just enough to obscure it. And then in addition, the typical vinyl enclosure around it. I know you said you were amenable to some sort of screening or plantings.
I often revert back whenever we do site plans or special permits or whatever for projects that are commercial in nature. I always revert back to real life solves these problems, meaning they don't want it to look bad either. So that's usually one of the things that I think about, but
So progressing, okay, a little bit now to the right. So I see it's like, what is actually soil there now? You're intending to remove and put in, it's next to the walkway, proposed compacted gravel area. And it's like, shouldn't that just be a lawn all in front right there? Like,
no, that's this right here.
yes, exactly. Why is that compacted? That's actually like, it looks like it's dirt right now from the aerial view as well.
So it's a mix of,
Are you driving over it?
no,
Not the walking area.
yeah, it's more of a walking area. So you have the walking area to get up to the building, but the walkway that you see specifically that runs from there to there is just a bituminous paved ADA. Because for ADA access, you need to have a certain minus of compacted material. It's got to be relatively flat. So where we have this whole recreational area from inside the fence down to the back of curb as compacted gravel for people to come and go and move as they see fit, that material isn't ideal for ADA accessibility. So we at least need to provide a hard bituminous paved walkway
So that's
somewhere.
all gonna be bermed though.
Yeah, so the parking area will be bermed and there'll be compacted gravel behind it. And then the only spot that you're having a bituminous walkway is from the ADA spaces, the straight shot up to the building.
Should there be some type of walkway going from that front parking area over to that though? Because now you're gonna have people walk right through the travel lane, kind of like around it, or just gonna step over the curb onto it.
You step over the curb to that compacted gravel area. And that's why it was meant to be compacted gravel.
That's why we didn't want to put grass, because, obviously people walking over, it's gonna get muddy.
Yeah.
It's gonna get pretty messy and not look all that good.
Like, is that like the waiting area where you like, people waiting for events and whatnot?
I have a pretty good visual of it. I think it's called the business plan under the meeting materials.
What I was gonna say was, this is, that's compacted gravel landscaping. It's just gonna be curbs and then walking areas instead of grass. All right, which one are we going to?
It's labeled as business plan.
Yep.
So this,
This
I have to
particular
flip
one,
it.
the
Yeah, hold on one
sidewalk
second.
you're alluding to, it's that. I just want to avoid people from walking into the, like how to,
Yeah, we're leaving room on the back of the curb that they could still walk.
should there be an opening maybe, something like that to promote people walk through or something?
I mean, it's no different than having a curb with the bituminous walk behind it. You don't have an opening for that. We're just replacing the bituminous.
Is it gonna be that level? So you're not gonna,
Yeah.
you're not like you're stepping old, like.
No. The compacted gravel, it'll come to the curb.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's because I thought
Oh,
it was
right.
the curve, then you get the gravel, so it's just like.
No, it's,
You don't tend to walk over.
no,
it.
you would come flush.
Towards the bottom has the point of sale building. To give a little bit better visual. So what you see in the top picture, that's where the ice cream sales are gonna be. So it's 3 windows. So where the logo is, where the sign is what's facing Lunenburg Street. So where you saw the walkway going from 88 parking spots, that's where the line's gonna be. So we made it so it's just over 70 feet long. So it's an appropriate amount of space so that people aren't standing in the road. Because again, that's something that you commonly see when you go to ice cream shops is, it wasn't really thought out too well. It's gonna get busy. And all of a sudden the lines start getting into the parking lot. So we pushed it away for that exact reason. For one, to make it so that it's not a large slope going up there. So it's a little bit easier to actually get to where the windows are. And then it allows for a longer line.
So that's the same thing that's in front of the parking, in front of the pavilion with the fences. So where that parking is, that's the same material? See the handicap spaces to the left?
Yep.
So that is a similar material?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. This is the same as this.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, the walkway there is specifically to provide an ADA access that's
Yep.
adequate.
And just to be clear, I mean, what we're proposing to put there for gravel is ADA compliant. It's just the maintenance to be able to keep it compliant is difficult. So that's why we provided a walkway, just to make sure that.
5 feet. Yep, your typical ADA walkway.
So it is going to be compacted. Our objective is to actually put it down and maintain it. But just for peace of mind to make sure, because it's gravel, it's going to eventually move. We're going to have that walkway there too as well.
All right, continuing on the landscaping, towards the right now, front. All righty. So, see where the sign is? Yes, to the left of that sign, it's like, should be like, you should have, of course, curbing, defining the driveway to that parking area there. So that should be like a curb that goes from the curb cut back, so it's not all, it's open, just all open right now, just like a giant open.
Sorry, I was
Yeah.
going to pull up, I know. I
You
was gonna-
understand what I'm saying?
pull
Like,
up the street scene.
spot next to the sign.
Yeah, so it's, so it's all,
The sign is to just see where you see the hash marks are to like, yeah, so it needs a,
Oops, car in the way.
and ideally, it's like that, I think that spot should be landscaped up to the sign so that you have that, it's landscaped on both sides of the entranceway. So you have that, whatever material you probably, when you bring from offsite or from the existing site.
Yeah, so remove a little bit of that pavement,
We
put
have
mulch,
hash marks
plant
there,
things.
put
Yeah.
plantings there. So with
Right.
the sign, so from that sign all the way to your opening there.
Just on that one side from the sign over to the.
yeah, just where that little hatch is that we showed. Okay.
Because that will give you, that's.
Defined space.
Defining the driveway.
So you're talking about literally this space right
Yeah,
here?
literally.
Yeah, change that from,
I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page.
And add a
I don't disagree with it. I just
And add a
want to make sure
curve.
everyone knows.
yeah, so it would just be a bit curve that wraps around, ties in to where
So people
the
know.
sign
they're
is.
going into
Yep,
the-
and you could put some plantings there.
So the remainder of the space to the right of the sign, it's like ideally in our requirements are like, 20 feet in width. That's like landscaping, but I mean, I guess that could be additional parking.
So we're only showing the parking on the wall side as part of it. We are proposing a timber guardrail on top of the retaining wall. We have showing 24 feet at the tightest point. It's about 30, I think it's about 30 to the back of the sidewalk up at that upper parking area. So part of the reason we wanted to leave it is because it's existing, it does provide additional movability for vehicles to come in and out of there. And it also would be an area for snow storage.
I guess you're not.
You're talking-
I'm talking like right to the front. Nope, like.
Where that open
little
space
wall, an open space right there.
Yes.
So typically, like, I think in like we see that landscaping line, like with the sign is go all the way down the front, so you're just gonna be lawn or whatever.
So there is,
Unless you're gonna do additional parking.
so there is enough space to actually do more parking there. Ideally, I'd like to keep it open like that, so we do have additional spots. And then the thought is, I know Fitchburg does this maybe a few times per year. You mentioned the food truck in the back part of the property. We'd like to have a couple food truck festivals throughout the year where that could actually create some space if it ran parallel with Lunenburg Street, to put a couple food trucks there as well.
So we wanted to mark that on the plan, so just the same, so that it's already looked at, saying like, hey, here's this, we're doing with that space. So maybe you have, hash mark or something or that space, or somehow reserve on the plan that this is for that potential purpose, future use for that, so that it's already approved on your site plan.
Justin, there's a little lip here, right?
Yes.
I just, my biggest concern would be, I don't necessarily have any problem with just adding a notation that, future food truck area or whatever. I just would never want a situation where someone could go over that curb and enter Lunenburg Street anywhere other than the dedicated entrance and exit.
So should there be like similar rail or something?
I think he said there's a lip there. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, there,
Landscaping, like.
And that's also the dedicated sidewalk on Lunenburg Street too.
Yeah, so somebody would have to drive over the sidewalk to get.
There's a curb there, there's a lip there on the sidewalk, and then there's the actual curb.
Yes.
So I don't know whether or not it should be, your thoughts on kind of defining that a little bit, because it's like that's the look you look at when you.
Can you go back to the site plan for a second?
The site plan, yeah.
Up to that, and as well as, see that there might have been.
So, well,
Coming up on the sidewalk. There
well,
was
so-
like- was a landscaping strip or something.
The problem is,
They're like, you might want to do that or put that down.
so we can't. That's within the right of way.
You maintain the sidewalk, yes. Maintaining sidewalks is actually part of the city code.
Right.
But that's also, but that's MassDOT.
But still maintaining is like taking weeds out is one thing and that's one thing. You can maintain-
Well, you want it to look nice. and
Yeah,
pretty.
We-
yes.
We do
Yeah,
follow
yeah,
the
I'm just-
City for cleaning up all the city streets, including pulling weeds out of sidewalks and the rights of way,
Well, that's different from city to state because
regardless of the road. We can clean up the litter and clean up the.
Yeah.
yes to that. I just don't want that to be a stipulation only because
I'm just saying it's a reflection upon looking at your business and it's
Yes.
in your interest to do that. And yes, you should. And I don't say just because it's in the right of way that you can't do that, because it is about maintaining sidewalks, things in front of you to do the good deed.
100% would and will. And if you looked at, I mean, I've only owned the property for a year.
We're going to argue about that.
Honestly, I've had nothing on the property. I took care of the property all summer long. I actually killed all those weeds. So if you go by there is no weeds. And I took care of that with nothing there just because it's an eyesore. So 100%. It's important. I think Paul touched upon it. It's super important for our business to make sure it's presentable. So I took care of it when it's a dirt pile. Definitely gonna take care of it when I've been operating.
What I would like to see, why don't we leave the whole using that space conversation, aside from the landscaping Paul had mentioned in that hashed area, which certainly is part of it. Using it for food trucks, if and when you get to that point, just provide us with a modified site plan showing how you're going to beautify that parking lot. Because at that point, you'll be up and running, hopefully you have cash flow.
Yeah.
You can say, okay, we want to do a food truck thing there. This, we want to use this, then show the parking spaces, show where they're going, and then we can talk about beautifying that parking lot in and of itself.
That's fair.
And in regards to landscaping too, in the middle where that island is, we're still proposed, on the other side of the drive aisle. Yep. So as part of the original self-storage plan, we are still going to show landscaping beds in that area. But we would like to leave the boulders. I know as part of the original one, it was requested to take the boulders out, put landscape beds in place. After Rob's owned the property and seeing what's been going on, he would feel better leaving those boulders in place to, again, deter people from entering and driving onto the site. But done right, you could landscape and put landscape beds around those boulders with plantings and just add the boulders as an additional feature to the landscape.
Can I speak real quick about it? So,
Make it a field stone wall.
what's that?
Make it a field stone wall.
Yeah, so obviously I've owned the property for a year, so it's a nice property. No doubt, I'm very fortunate to be able to secure this property. One thing that's pretty clear is any vacant property, people love to throw trash and debris. So I spent the whole summer, twice a week going there and cleaning everything, just so it still looks presentable. I mean, it looks pretty presentable for nothing there. Took care of the grass that's there. So we would landscape around that. So where I was going with it is a seasonal business. So there's going to be a period of the year where we're not operating. Anytime you have a vacant property where you're not operating, there's going to be an opportunity for somebody to want to dump their trash or debris. This deters someone from doing it. Like the other side where the upper parking is, there's that lip. To go over that, you have to go over the sidewalk. Right here is basically level with Lunenburg Street. It's a very easy one to kind of go around. I put those Jersey barriers because people wanted to dump their trash here. It became a landfill. So if we took those out of there, it's going to be pretty easy for somebody to kind of go around there. So
Is there Is it seasonal? Any plans to put in like a similar type of a gate or something like closed for the season?
So I definitely want to put some sort of barrier. Again, not 100% sure what that looks like. It, budget-wise, is the difficult part. If I was to put another fence like that, at least starting up, it's not in the budget to be able to do that. So we do want to put some sort of barrier. I know a lot of properties will put a, weighted concrete with, like chain fence, closed for the season, so you can't actually enter that property. I want to do something because I don't want it to become a landfill. I don't want people dumping in debris. I want to make sure it's going to look good, open up in the spring. Again, it's still going to be presentable. So that's my intent.
Yeah.
Are you gonna remember?
You just answered one of my questions. I heard you talk about snow storage. And I was wondering, now you
Not
just
needed.
seasonal.
Yeah, it's not needed.
So you're not gonna worry about plowing, obviously.
Yeah, and that was one of the comments raised, and there's ample, there is ample area on site for snow storage, but again, where he's only operating from the beginning of May to the end of October. Well, when the snow comes, I mean,
It's gonna stay.
don't look outside now, but when the snow eventually comes, there's no one gonna be there running the facility.
So what do you propose for opening and closing dates?
So it's going to be May 1st, weather permitting, obviously New England, and October 31st closing. So we'd operate from Sunday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. So we're actually going to close rather early. And then Friday and Saturday, it'd be 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. just on Friday and Saturday.
I do have a question for you on the mini golf course itself. Obviously, you gave this some thought. It's kind of like,
7
what can I
months.
do with this property?
Yeah. 7 months to design
So
it.
you must have done some research on mini golf courses.
Yep.
And I imagine you did quite a bit.
Can you pull up that presentation? Well, this is one of them, so you can kind of see with the site. But if you pull up that other, the other one that I put together,
So.
is this plan?
Yep, this is plan, yep.
So if you give me 2 minutes to run through, I can kind of tell you what our attractions and offerings are, and hopefully it'll.
Okay, that really wasn't even going to be my question.
He's very excited about this, as you can tell.
I've been to a lot of, in my day, not recently, mini golf courses. And when I go to some of these mini golf courses, in my mind, I can say, course is okay. Go to some other course, wow, I love this course, is great. So on a scale of where these mini golf courses fit,
You'll see it.
is this high end?
So, have you been to Kimball's?
Yes.
Have you been to Chuckster's?
No.
So it's the same people that built Kimball's. So we went with the highest end construction and engineering company to design it. We custom designed it, so there's no other course around that looks like this. And again, one of the things that was the main focus, hence why it took so long to get there, is we wanted to be the only course that's 100% ADA. Because that's one thing, you go to Kimball's, you go to Mulligan's, you go to any of those, they're not 100% ADA. They do the bare minimum to be compliant, which is 50%. So to me, it never made any sense why somebody that, is in a wheelchair they can pay to use the whole course, but they can only use half of it. So this was custom designed so that it's 100% ADA, which again, you try to find one around here that's like that. No one does it because of cost. So when I say budget, we tried to be as thoughtful as possible. We knew, again, our last project didn't work out. We had a lot of learnings from that, listening to the board, the economic development task force. Some of the feedback from that meeting was, it got approved, 7-0 in here, but it wasn't a fun project. So these are the couple of things that we look for. It wasn't a fun project. It didn't necessarily bring people to the city of Fitchburg because your primary market is 3 miles from your facility. Didn't employ really anybody. And they didn't like you didn't like the idea of putting a 27,000 square foot building on this property. So when the self-storage didn't work out for obvious reasons, because somebody's building a CubeSmart on the abutting property. So it hurt. Obviously, we put a lot of money, obviously time.
According to them, we're like we're a self-storage desert.
Yeah. So I mean, so we had to make a decision. Is it financially responsible, even though we put all this time, a lot of money to do it? It wasn't. So this is family owned. It's just me, my wife, and my daughter. So we had to step back and think about all the feedback that we got from the board. Again, we're extremely fortunate to have this property, and we wanted to make the most of it. So how could we build something that is going to bring more people to the city of Fitchburg, employ more people, be obviously a smaller structure, and be financially responsible? It's very, anybody else? Yeah, anybody else to be able to make something that's financially feasible is going to have to put a rather large building on this property. If it's not that, someone's going to put that. So we went from 27,000 square foot building to a 1,000 square foot building on a 135 square foot piece of land. We are now going to employ 22 to 24 seasonal employees. Probably the biggest thing about it is that our primary market is 25 miles. So instead of being 3 miles, it's 25 miles. We're going to have a business that's going to attract people, obviously Fitchburg residents, but we're right on the line of Lunenburg, Leominster, and I have a good visual of it, what 25 miles looks like. So had a full feasibility study done on it. And again, the primary market's 1.3 million people. And on the conservative side, we're going to bring in about 56,000 people in this season.
The only reason I brought that up, putting the ADA features aside, and I appreciate you doing that. That's a great idea. We of course want your business to succeed.
Yes.
And that's why I was asking, is this course going to be a relatively high-end course? Because there's going to be a reason to come to your course rather than go to the neighboring ones.
Yep.
Is your course going to offer these people that are going to want to play mini golf something better, a better experience than what they can get somewhere else?
Yes. Could you start towards the beginning?
This one?
Or keep going up. So, right, yeah, that first one. So fully contoured. So it's not going to be Masons. Masons going out. Like fully contoured, built by the biggest and best name in the business. They've built courses like Kimball Farm, Mulligan's, Chuckster's, Weston Creamery, if you've ever been there on the other side of Worcester. Fantastic place. It's what I want my business to be long-term. More kids attractions that can be added to the property. 100% ADA accessible. We already talked about that. If you go to the next slide, what it's not that.
That's good.
Go to the next one. This is the actual design. So we're adding 54 trees and shrubs to the property because again, to me, that's what brings us to life. I didn't want to have big caves. We weren't going to have windmills. It's on a busy road. We wanted to have a more natural looking landscape. So we're adding a lot of plantings, a lot of trees. This is where the money's being spent. And 100% of it is contoured. And this is where it was difficult because we wanted to make it contoured, but still keep it ADA compliant, which is extremely difficult to do. So we had to have everything custom. Every grade on there has to be done just right so that, the ball is accessible to somebody. So again, it's a lot of courses, especially the lower end courses, the lengths of the holes are 15 to 20 feet long. So we have up to 45. So, and we made it a way, again, our design intent was to make a course that can be enjoyed by kids, that's not overly difficult, but also be enjoyed by adults as well. Because there's been other ones around. Lancaster Golf had a mini golf course that no one used because it was so difficult. It had no barriers on the side. Like you couldn't finish the first hole.
That was funny.
Yeah. So this again, we thought about all of that. We put the appropriate contours in there. This is as high end as you're gonna get, and it's 100% custom. So me and my family actually completely designed 5 of the holes. So it's 100% custom to fit this property. So yeah, we put 7 months into designing it to make sure it's gonna be something that people are gonna like.
So along the same line, you're going to be doing.
We're gonna talk about ice cream?
I was gonna say, I know you want to talk about ice cream.
I want ice cream you're gonna serve.
Okay, so part of the 7 months we had a lot of fun research there. So our goal, we're not gonna make the ice cream, as most places don't even know they say it's homemade ice cream. It's not. We actually tested out different distributors throughout the United States. And we went with the one, it's the highest rated ice cream that you can get, wins all the awards. It's from a dairy farm in Wisconsin, the Chocolate Shop. They have the best ice cream. We got to enjoy so many flavors, which is good. So we did our research. They actually have 150 locations nowhere near around here in Massachusetts. And we went to every single site, looked at every review, and every single review says it's the best ice cream around. And we tested it. You know, there's certain things in ice cream that makes it better, as far as the butter fat that's in it. So this is the highest, it's actually considered super premium ice cream, where most of them, the high-end ones, the Rhoda Springs is premium. This actually has a little bit more butter fat in it, which actually makes it even more premium. We weren't gonna have that. But if you say we have to. So it is, we're pretty confident that people that come here for this ice cream are gonna say it's the best ice cream, without a doubt. So we did our research with that as well.
Any other food?
So we're gonna have the food truck.
Nope, sorry.
Yeah.
So that, again, we weren't gonna operate it. We didn't want a business where we're actually gonna be cooking and stuff in there. We want a small structure, again, just where the employees will be in there for the point of sales. So again, it's just gonna be food trucks.
So speaking along these lines, because it's like you see the beer garden.
Yeah.
And the food truck increases and about the ADA. And I am concerned and would like feedback from like Board of Health, but porta potties, because that just to me, I'm bringing my family there and I'm not gonna have the 4-year-old. I just want the whole porta potty experience, and that you're serving food and it's not like, what do you do for hand washing aside from this hand sanitizer and the porta potty? Like you should be having some public restroom there on the backside of your building or something for, I think that's gonna be a big enhancement. Those other facilities have them.
Yeah, Hollis Hills has a whole line of.
Go inside to the restroom. Go inside to the
Well,
restroom.
I gotta tell you, Wildwood Farm has little trucks. So they're like little trailers.
I looked at it.
The ADA piece too, it's like, how are they using them for
They
the
sing
scenarios and, you know.
So we have an ADA one on there, and then we also have a hand washing station on there as well. So we'll have that. When we looked at, trust me, we looked at
So I just
putting
wanna know
restaurants.
that, because it's not just like here's, it's like, well, with food and everything,
Yeah.
and some comment from
So
the.
this larger one's the ADA one.
ADA, and there's gonna be a hand washing station. So it's not a sanitizer, it's an actual separate unit that we're gonna have on site for hand washing. So when I had those quoted, just obviously to see how expensive this is gonna be. that was
Why would you not want to have public restrooms?
The cost was outrageous.
Cost to just install them?
The bill is super, so even those,
Restrooms in there now for the employees.
just one restroom for the employees. To add, obviously, the building gets much larger. The cost is outrageous. So even those trucks, we looked at that. We actually looked at this shipping container companies that create these restrooms. There's so many of them. There's no option under, even like the shipping container ones, $80,000 to put 2 restrooms in there. And just financially, it wouldn't be feasible for us to do it, at least not now. It'd be way too expensive. It'd be something that we'd have to walk away from at that point, because it's just not feasible for this
I
property.
think that's just kind of like a big, I know, deterrent from some of that.
I 100% get it.
Because it's like, and you're gonna be like, yeah, I want to have the beers, but I'm not.
But I don't know how often you go up to Hollis Hills, but I tend to go up there often in the summer, and it doesn't.
Concur them? No. That's where
You
everything.
gotta take care of them.
They have indoor bathrums. I go in the
I
bathroom.
mean, I've used.
I've never seen anybody go, like everyone's using. So trust, we did the research. Hollis Hills has 8 regular ones and 3 ADA ones. We looked at that. We looked at Wachusett Brewery. That's where everyone's using those porta potties to the point
I
where
didn't know whether or not it's more like an overflow thing, but that is going to be your primary piece.
Yeah, and our property is a little bit different, or our project is a little bit different than, say, like a Hollis Hills that does have a full kitchen. Our primary focus is mini golf. That's what the main attraction
It's
is.
not go and eat and
Yeah.
just hang out.
Yeah, so, and
Sort of pavilion and stuff, so it is gonna be hanging out.
I can definitely see people going there for an ice cream cone and get something to eat,
No, not-
and not even play mini golf.
yeah.
So,
See that.
Find the spot to watch your hand.
Yeah, I like that,
So we,
Yeah, that was, because it's like, that was just
So-
not.
Because you get sticky and you need like running water.
yeah, so that's part of what we have on our budget is as far as it's a whole hand washing station as well.
Would you have that on the outside of the building, a hand washing station or something like that?
I mean, we could put one, I mean, that again,
But you're talking about up by the porta potties. That's what-
yes, yeah.
Where he's talking about?
Oh,
By the port, so that it's not just a sanitation thing inside the porta potty. There's a whole hand washing thing outside of it.
You like step on a pedal and the water.
Yeah.
okay. Just want to figure how it all,
Yeah, I would love to not have porta potties. It's just, again, we had to be mindful. Again, lessons learned from the last project is that, it just got so out of hand as far as financially that it wouldn't have been financially responsible.
think about that down the road, your configuration to say, it's like, you know what, we're gonna make the leap this time and do that.
Yeah, so we have plenty of space there, without a doubt, so 100%,
you never know, you could.
Yeah.
I would,
Because that's even
you
when.
probably thought of this, but when you design where the restroom is, it should be on that north section so that you can build up if you ever want to. Your plumbing should be mindful of where you can expand in the future.
Yeah.
So that top portion of the building should be the bathroom. I don't know where it's designed to be. Because any expansion there is gonna have to go that way, you would think, because you can't go down really towards, well, I guess you got a small area here.
Ideally, you would go into the rec.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, like
Yeah.
right where I'm showing you.
Yeah, the way that the building's shown,
I'm just
exactly.
I'm
and
just saying, not a permit condition, be mindful when you
Right.
install this
That's what I'm
bathroom,
saying.
that it's where, in the area of where you can expand in the future. Because I think Paul is right. I think it would be beneficial, especially if you're very successful, to someday in the future add to indoor public restrooms. I can tell you, my daughter's in a wheelchair, and a lot of times you need the extra space. As much as the accessible porta potties are fine, you need the extra space to be able to handle that, and that would be, a very good contribution to your patrons.
Yeah. Understood.
I do, while we're on that topic, Paula, I just want to mention at EDTF, the police chief did have comments about the porta potty. And I believe, I'm not speaking for him, but I believe, and you guys can help me with this, he was satisfied when he found out that they were behind a fence.
And we're gonna lock them.
they'll be locked.
Yeah.
The issue was people getting to them when they're closed.
Yeah.
Yep, so they're gonna be locked.
Yep.
So is that a 4-foot fence in front?
It's, 4-foot fence,
Is that the black?
black, yep.
Fence on the front going around. So, and just think about this too, whether you have like the one food truck in the back, whether or not, I'm not sure how many food trucks.
The idea would just be,
So regular operations, the idea is one food truck. When I talked about the upper spot, that's for, this certain Saturday in the summer that we, promote that we're gonna have food trucks on site or whatever for another attraction. But regular operations, just one food truck.
So I'm just thinking of, again, when you're thinking of utility pieces, if there's any type like for electrical or anything like that, that could be beneficial for you to set up a station. If you have an area, kind of dedicated to food trucks to have, to be able to have that utility hookup or something like that, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
So just thinking about that when you're, even if you're laying empty conduit down while you're digging the turf up now, so you don't have to dig it up later, to put in some.
speaking of conduit, we are proposing conduit at the front of the building for EV ready spaces. I know that's a big thing, building code. So there is,
These spaces down here.
yeah, the first two spaces ideally right there. We have a conduit that's gonna come in, split them. In the event that it officially becomes mandatory, I know right now it's a lot of,
If the is mandatory.
we like if it drives us.
Well, all electric cars, all cars in Mass are supposed to be electric 2034, 2035. I know they're gonna push that, I think
We'll see.
they're gonna push that back.
Yeah.
They're gonna figure out if the
Yeah.
two shuts down and
Yeah.
where they're all gonna
There's a
go.
lot of things to.
But we are showing a conduit to come out just to have you be ready in the event.
Yep, good idea.
I think, what was it, my last little bit of landscaping was on the self-storage plan, there was a row of landscaping between the end of the little hammerhead to the Thunderbird over there, whether or not you wanted to screen, like, you know, just past that, to add some screening was on the whole length, that back length to that other.
So
It was-
we're proposing the bin blocks and the Jersey barrier. Main reason being we're not removing the existing pavement there. So as far as the self-storage, so the pavement wraps all the way around and it ties into the adjacent parcel. As part of the original plan for self-storage with as much impervious as we were putting in regarding,
So it's still pavement by beyond.
yes. So there's pavement along the right.
You can see
See how it all ties in?
Oh, okay.
So as part of this project, we're not removing that existing pavement.
Oh,
So we wouldn't be able to put landscaping there.
so.
So the bin blocks and the barriers to separate people from, again, entering the site with a vehicle.
And the bin block looks like.
I have a picture just in case you asked that.
That's what I'm seeing on the site plan, when I'm seeing on the little.
No, those little rectangles, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So smaller, they're not Jersey barriers, they're only 2 feet high, but it makes it so
They're
that,
only off to that side, so they're
Yep.
really not in the visual.
Yeah, and again, it's just to separate the two parcels.
Okay. Makes sense. You want to see that? Okay. What else do we have? Oh, and you have the, and it's just for, more access, you have the double gates going into, right next to the building, going into the pavilion area, is that for just larger?
so access, if there was ever somebody that got hurt, to have, you know, an ambulance have access to it. And that's the whole idea of keeping access on the other side, because it's a pretty big property. Obviously, we're adding a lot of landscaping on the mini golf thing, so we wanted to keep access to be able to maintain it, obviously landscaping, but also if somebody ever got hurt, it's easy for, you know, an ambulance to get back there.
And the wood brick, so there's some like wood, some old wood posts.
Those will be removed.
Just a couple by
With
the
the
side, and
sign.
there's a couple going on the central, I want to say island, the driveway, when you're coming in on the left is like a few.
Those are 100% getting removed.
And with the sign, I believe you uploaded.
So I did put pictures of the sign.
And you're finalizing the vendor.
Yep.
Right now, so.
Yeah, so I have pictures of what it looks
So
like.
using the existing marquee, and just gonna have that in the building.
And then on the building is just a 6-foot one that will have our logo as well.
I did tell him, I don't know if you agree, but I like that Hill City is.
Feels
It
good.
is.
We put a lot of thought into what made sense. And hopefully it says established 2024. Hopefully it's established 2024.
Hopefully they get the putt part so that they know what Hill City is, just knowing that.
That's the nice thing about a term that's not coined. It's unique to the business, and I think it's appropriate for our cities. I like it.
Yeah, we're gonna know.
Yeah.
We're gonna know what it is and that's.
Does that website exist?
I own a
Do
domain.
anything?
Not yet.
I was just curious if you had a coming soon or, you know, a picture of the thing. I have, as leading up to meetings, I usually get calls, and I've talked to a few, a Ward 2 councilor in particular, and a few other people, and, you know, basically said we had a light agenda, but this was one of the things that was on it. The comment I got from the few people I talked to was, oh, it's a, you know, really different, really great idea. So I think you'll get some buzz once you start moving along with with designing this.
I do own the website, just we haven't put anything on.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
The board have any? I know I asked a lot of questions. A lot of things, is there anything else you'd like to talk about, or anything about
The
the,
sign, you're using that existing structure?
Yeah.
The sign. I'm assuming you're gonna paint the red.
Yeah, it's gonna go gray.
okay, so
I just wanted to-
your motif is what you see there is, those are the colors, it's gray?
Yes.
Hold on, I just wanted to, because that's the existing.
Yeah. that's
Existing
it's
sign.
like the-
Red and gray?
What's that?
Red and gray is the theme?
Yeah.
Just gray on the sign.
You only ask
Gray and
for
white.
that. 'Cause
I mean, we
those are our
draw
colors, that's why.
Yeah. I mean, we could keep the post red if we had to, but.
So it's gray, it's just gray and white, or gray, white.
Correct. Yeah, there's a couple different shades of gray in there.
Yeah. Couple
It's
tones
just
of
that
gray.
contrast piece that you want, so it's just still making.
It's
making sure
exactly
you can
what
see
was on that.
At a distance, that visible, it's like, I know, I like the cursive. Some folks may not be able to interpret the cursive, but, that was good. But also, yeah, being able to see that at a distance going X miles an hour, that you're gonna be able to see what you are.
Yeah.
Good, I mean, that's a big sign.
Public comment?
And is there anybody online?
Or in person? Okay. Oh, I said I'm looking at you, or in person. She's asking public comment.
You like it?
It's far more social dynamic opera today than dead storage.
As I know he had mentioned, I think everyone that talked to him about self-storage, it was not the most desirable of options. So I was very pleased to see something unique and different.
Yes, but it is, we have very few commercial zones in the city. And it's really, that should be promoting, and this has all the utilities here, it has all the traffic here. There's a lot of parking available, and it's like creating jobs, and creating something that is an amenity to the people who live here is big. It's like being able to use that rather than it's like self-storage, and there is relegated to like industrial, so it's.
I listened.
Yeah, it checks a lot of boxes. I like
It's
it.
a lot of boxes for the.
There is room here to expand with just how much of this area was previously developed. So
Part of the reason why I want to be careful what I did between this and the nightclub is obviously the nightclub just changes hands every year. No one's ever going to build it. It should be knocked down. If and when it ever gets knocked down, I would be first in line to buy that, to be able to kind of expand. So again, phase 7.
Yeah.
So we have DPW comments. Do we have any online comments? I guess, do we have any feedback from fire department?
So I can tell you Captain Roy was at the EDTF meeting, and he basically, I think generally seemed to say it was okay, except he couldn't speak for fire prevention for Captain Kringen. Or I should say, Deputy Chief Roy, I'm sorry. He couldn't speak for Captain Kringen, but I believe it's going to just be fire access and sprinklers. We can make that a condition that the fire prevention signs off on it. I think that's satisfactory.
And I guess the other piece is, after you went through that traffic piece, is our traffic department going to be fine with limiting it back to the single driveway? You know, I'm not sure, I wasn't there at that meeting for what the concern was, that with the 2 driveways.
The consensus was that, and we can, again, if you want to run it by Sergeant Boudreau and the chief, the consensus was, I think, that he preferred to be a 1.
yeah, and that's where the right turn only from the second drive aisle came into play, that we want to maintain the 2 curb cuts and not eliminate it. So it was thought to, okay, make that right turn only so you don't have 2-way on 2 curb cuts. So eliminating one and making emergency access.
Checks all as well.
Checks police boxes.
But we can certainly make sure that they have a chance to say it's okay. I have no problem with that.
Well, that's the question, of whether to continue with the comment.
I don't think we have to. I think quite honestly, having talked to the chief about this, I don't think it's going to be a major stumbling block. I think it's going to be just to give their input, and then if they have any traffic suggestions, we can handle that with either a modification or permit condition when we write the permit. I don't think it's going to be anything earth shattering, to be quite honest with you. But
How does the board feel about that? Do you have enough information? Do you want to wait till you get further feedback from any of those?
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
Yeah, just asked with the fire, was that a condition to get,
yeah, I would say fire prevention, just to.
can you add police?
Yeah.
As a condition, that way the board.
Paula's asking if the board felt okay
with-
voting on it or just waiting to next month.
Right.
I think I'd like to get you guys moving as
At least
quickly
you
as
went through
possible.
the EDTF, so
Yes.
that's a big piece of it. I just don't want to make sure I'm not, it's like they said one thing, we said another, and we want to make sure we're in agreement with that. So if they were adamant about a certain thing, we're changing that,
Okay,
okay?
no, that's fine. I was just offering if you want a condition, police approval as well.
Yes.
If you're doing it
Yeah.
with fire,
Yes.
that's what I was getting
Yep,
at.
I'll give you the wording in a minute, but yeah.
And similarly, like if there is something that you would have to come back for a site plan revision.
Minor modification. Ideally, it would be a minor
And
modification.
that moving at, now if we vote on this evening, that it would also be going to be subject to submitting of an updated site plan.
Yep.
I think we talked about
Yes.
having the landscape pieces, and
Yeah.
changing the traffic flow piece.
Yep.
Those.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
A motion's been made with a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, discussion?
I have, so obviously all of this will be what Paula said last, subject to submittal of site plan. Some of these things I outlined individual, other, I would suggest just going back and if you didn't take notes, just rewatching the meeting. Subject to satisfaction of the DPW comments, which I think we addressed most of, but just in case. The easterly side, the gated emergency exit, gated emergency exit.
With
the Knox box.
Cross-section area and a knock box, yep. The vinyl dumpster enclosure, because it's so visible, I wanted a permit condition that it be maintained, and if any panels are damaged, they be repaired, only because it's gonna be so visible to the street.
Add plantings in front anyway.
Yep, and you're right, and add, arborvitae's or whatever screen plantings you can do, yeah. Add landscaping area and bituminous curb and hashed area next to the sign, which we had talked about. Subject to fire prevention review, subject to the Fitchburg Police satisfactory review of the egress and that emergency knockbox that we talked about, that they're satisfied with that. And then I just had, because it wasn't on the plan, though you're planning on doing it, I just had the hand wash station where the porta potties are.
Yeah, I'm sure you. Did you speak with the Board of Health about that configuration?
I have not.
Well, this is like that's a big piece.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're okay with it. Just saying. That'll be another piece to fire.
You can add them on there. Steve Curry's been out for quite a while. And he hasn't been at EPTF, but.
And as well as maintaining ADA bathroom, accessible bathrooms. Porta potty, restroom facility.
I put all that in the form of a motion unless you have anything else.
Let's see. So you're gonna up into landscaping. EV, Mark, are we gonna have EV ready on your site plan?
Yep, there is a note on the Grand Drainage utility.
Come also return for a site plan update for the landscaping on the front lot within
Yes.
a year or something, or?
I would say just when prior to utilizing the space for ancillary uses for, food trucks or additional parking before they use that space. Get up and running, get money, come back and say, I want to make that area, I want to use it for food storage, then, or for food trucks, then we'll address it then.
Now you're out planning fixing the pavement in that front area, that's all, okay.
Yeah, that would be part of that pulverize.
Yes, I mean, you'll have those spaces marked, but just unless you, to not muddy it, so that we know where all the food trucks are parking and everything else, just do that in the future, just.
On this revised set of plans, do you want no future use on the layout plan?
It would just be a permit, is this just site plan review?
No, special.
So it would be a special permit condition that you just wouldn't.
Wouldn't use it until you come.
Use it. Okay. Excuse, unless you guys had made that permit. I was gonna say, unless.
I can show something on the plan, just so it's known.
So we know what we're saying.
Yeah.
On the front parking lot.
Perfect.
Labeled future use.
Yep.
Let's see. Just knowing that you have the vinyl enclosure for the rubbish. Nope, but you have got about 73 parking spaces.
So we already made a motion, we seconded it.
All right, a motion's been made. With a second. And I'll say roll call vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Alex?
Aye.
Lynn?
Aye.
Amanda? Aye. Peter?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Tracy? Aye. Paula? Aye.
Luck.
Thank you very
Awesome,
much.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
A little bit more excited about this.
If
We are too,
if
don't
you
worry.
couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I am very excited.
Good.
Good luck to you guys.
Family's excited.
Yeah, your pictures of it.
Unless you want a beautiful.
Paula, do you want a couple
Yeah.
weeks?
This is a special permit. So the procedure is we write a decision. We record the decision with the city clerk. You wait 20 days for any type of appeal. Or if it's at risk. After that, you have to record the decision in the registry of deeds for it to be effective.
Don't forget to record it.
You have to record it. Once it's recorded, it's effective.
Hopefully this is the last time I'm recording for this property.
I hear you.
Yes.
Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have.
And we have, which one's first? 104. So we have 3 people in the audience, and I know Charlie already told me he's from Native Sun or the Industrial Road, what the second one is. So I don't know, is someone here for 1 Oak Hill Road?
You raised?
Yep.
Okay.
James, just press the microphone and you're.
So we have other business. We have Revolutionary Clinics, 1 Elk Hill Road, cannabis odor mitigation and window updates.
Good evening. My name is James Schaefer. I am the Director of Facilities for Revolutionary Clinics. I'm here to provide updates for the window repair as well as the odor mitigation. Last time I was there, it was requested that I provide materials for the window repairs, and I have sent along documents earlier this month that did just that.
Yep.
So I see that about, we'll probably do the windows first.
That's what I got up.
So on the estimate that I provided, under the description, it says for the materials to cover the windows, it's going to be vinyl siding.
So because all I saw was the diagram and it still didn't tell me exactly what was being done. Then I saw the estimate and it's like, okay, so it's black vinyl siding.
Yes.
And continuing, you're gonna have a metal grid, this metal.
Yes, that's basically the backing that the vinyl siding is going to be attached to, and it will look like the rest of the windows.
So we say vinyl siding. It's not gonna look like, it's just gonna be one piece of siding, so it's flat.
Yes. And then there's going to be a window frame that is also going to be vinyl as well, that is going to look exactly like the first floor.
So when you say vinyl siding, it's a piece of sheet vinyl that's flat.
Yes.
Okay. Not like we're looking at a side of a house that are like, 4 or 6 inch type of slats.
No, it will be flat. And then there's going to be another vinyl grid that goes over it that looks like the actual window frames.
A vinyl grid, so go back to that, so.
Yeah.
That's. But the background top, let's see.
So those are gonna be like you would have a J channel in vinyl siding. Those would be like a black channel that the sheet vinyl tucks into. It's gonna be so hard to picture this, but
I know, I'd like to see an actual like rendering of what it's supposed to look like in the picture. What it-
my suggestion would be to have them install one that's easily visible that we can see before we approve all of them.
Okay, I can do that.
I think that's the best way to make sure that this, and we're still, just to be clear, we're still talking about just in the courtyard, correct?
Yes.
So not the whole building, and certainly not the building that faces the parking lot?
It does face the parking lot, but it's the smaller parking lot. It's like in the courtyard side.
What I'm saying is not the side of the building that runs parallel with Oak Hill Lane, which is the street across the street. It's the side that runs perpendicular to the river, that runs along where all your equipment
So
is.
within the courtyard.
Yes.
Yes.
And so the top here says break metal top, so is that metal?
Yes, that will be metal, but that will also be covered. It's to basically replace that arch.
So it's gonna fill in the arch?
Yes, it all will be vinyl.
But it says break metal top.
Yeah, that's to anchor the vinyl to it.
Okay. Yes, it's gonna, I can see anchoring the vinyl.
Vinyl's gonna be the visible part, even that.
Yes.
Even
Yes.
visible? I mean, that's gonna be vinyl?
Correct. It's gonna be the same
Black?
black sheet vinyl you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, so let's see what it looks like.
Okay.
I think that,
Visual.
I mean, unless you can provide a picture, which I can imagine it's so custom that you're gonna have to have one done to take the picture, so.
Because it says 1/4 bronze smooth panel, so when something's bronze, that's bronze on, is bronze on the black? What's the grid color?
The grid color is going to be green, like it is now. Basically, it's going to be a black backing with a green grid, because that's exactly what the windows look like now that are already covered.
Okay. Black.
Does this, and this is probably neither here nor there, but I have to ask the question. Does the historical history of that building, does that matter at all with what you end up doing with these windows?
Per our last discussion, yes. We're trying to preserve it by making it look exactly like windows.
No, I understand that. I'm saying, are there any state or local mechanisms that prohibit you from doing these sorts of things? We run into this a lot with historic tax credits and things like that. There's nothing that prohibits that?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. And obviously, we already did some of them on the Oak Hill Road side, so.
Correct.
I assume it would have been solved, but I assumed it would have been solved by then. Okay. But you guys are okay with installing one and seeing what it looks and then going from there?
Yes.
Perfect.
All right, just inform us when it's done and we can drive by it and have you on our agenda.
Will do.
The bigger issue.
The bigger issue, odor.
Okay, for the odor side of things, I have my maintenance manager here. His name is Patrick Bozeman, and he will take it from here.
Thank you.
How you doing? My name is Patrick Bozeman, and I'm the maintenance manager for Rev Clinics. We have a a plan of action for the odor remediation. We're going to start off by adding carbon air filters, 7 to each floor. And that's the start of where we're starting off at, right there with that base. And we're going to see where it goes from there and progress and add more. But as a start right now, I have 7 I got cleared for to do each floor. So that'd be 27 carbon filters to bring down the smell, to help with the smell in the building and then the outside of the building as well.
So
I believe, sorry.
Were there no carbon filters previously?
Yes, there was, and they got old, so we're replacing them. I just got approved to purchase 27 filters, so I'm waiting for those to come in, and I'll be reinstalling those with inside of the facility.
So this is not new. This is just replacing what you have.
Yes, ma'am. That'll help with the smell, because I believe the older ones, they need to be switched out to help with the smell a lot more.
Question about where your O&M is, because that should have been done long ago then.
They've been installed already. We're just adding more to try to help with the smell.
And just so we're clear, it's not a question of helping the smell. It's a question of getting rid of the smell. I talked to someone at the CCC, and they state that they abide, that their permits all require you to abide by state law, which is no noxious odor outside the building. I think you guys are aware that there's been, basically, I've been getting almost a complaint a day from the Ward 2 counselor. I drive past there every morning. There almost isn't a day where the smell isn't overpowering. Particularly when the air's heavy, like if it's raining, it's the smell is unreal when the air's heavy. General days like today, clear as day. You don't even need to open your windows in your car. Clear as day when you drive in that neighborhood. So I know I've mentioned this to several people, and I don't know if you or Mr. Schaefer were in prior meetings, but I know we talked to, obviously going back to when Bert was there, and it's become more and more of an issue, but the last year, to say it's been problematic would be an understatement. And I think that this is getting to the point where I know the Board of Health, I was told, had just fined you guys at least once for the smell. If this continues, I can't speak for them, but this board has to start taking action, because it's been 18 months since we approved your odor mitigation plan. It's only been worse since then. There's been no improvement whatsoever. So I don't know if we need to get the CCC involved, or or just start finding you on our end. I don't know, because it doesn't seem like you guys are taking this seriously.
So I just recently took over myself for being a manager here. So I got some notes on some plume chutes that's supposed to be installed during the springtime, this upcoming spring. That's supposed to push the smell, I think, at least 2,000 feet more up in the air to get rid of the smell. So I'm going through the notes now, and this is supposed to be done in the springtime.
Okay.
So there was supposed to be some very large units mounted on the roof?
Yes, ma'am.
Referring to. And then
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
still about the 27 filters, as you're adding more filters to what you have, or you're just
Yes,
replacing the old?
We're adding more on to what we already have, just to try to remediate the smell a lot more.
Okay.
Are you replacing what the old, you said they were old filters?
Right.
Yes, we were changing out old ones, and we're adding more just to try to bring the smell down a lot more.
Adding new ones.
Yes, ma'am. In the blueprint you have, if you see those little red dots, the ones that's in the corridors, those are going to be the new filters that we're adding to the floors.
These ones right here? Yeah,
Yes,
it's just
sir.
cam filter.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
They're in the hallways. A lot of the hallways, in the hallways we have them. It's going to be seven for floor 1, 3, and floor, and 6 on floor 2.
And how many floors?
And those 7 filters remove 1,500 and 15,400 CFMs of air per floor. And I believe that each floor 1, floor 2, 3, and floor have 8 8,000 CFMs that need to be added. So I figure the 1,500 will be a little overkill, but that should help the smell come down a lot more.
Nothing,
again,
nothing could be overkill.
And I was gonna say, again, it's not the
Yeah.
smell coming out a lot more, it's removing the smell.
Yes,
That's the
yes.
standard BCC has. And
Yes.
that is, should be the standard we keep you to as well,
It's in the
that,
permit.
that it's getting rid of the smell in its entirety. And I think that, you know, obviously, I talked to the Ward 2 counselor today who wanted to remind me that he went by there at 11:40 this morning and the smell was still bad. And we had a conversation about this, and it was basically, this was not this morning, earlier this week, we had a conversation about the timeline, and it was basically, it needs to be fixed. I explained to him that it's gonna take you a little while to get your equipment. And I think that the conversation I had with him, as well as I think the way this board needs to handle it is, if by June it's not solved, then we're gonna have to start thinking about more serious ramifications.
So another an aspect of that too was that there was a, well, permitting for the outdoor facility as well. And it's like, this odor needs to be dealt with first before that.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
You would also be looking at amending your permit, the special permit with any conditions in order to make sure this gets addressed.
I mean, if they don't solve the odor issue, the first thing we have to do is cut down how big the grow operation is.
Okay.
I mean, this has been going, and again, I know you're new, and I'm not, this isn't directed at you, it's directed at Rev Clinics, but this has been an issue for 2 years. And 2 years ago, we were told, yep, we'll get the odor mitigation plan. That was June of 22. So we got the odor mitigation plan in June of 22, and nothing's happened since then.
There's no implementation date, just here's a plan, that's nice. So
Okay.
we get to that implementing part. And so you mentioned that the equipment will be here in the spring. So, what date can we hold you to?
So I've heard that from the contract that it should be here as soon as spring starts, because we really can't do no work with cranes right now in order to put that stuff on the roof safely. So I'm hoping for the first week of spring they'll be here. That's what I was told by some of my uppers, that we have them coming out during the first week of spring, hopefully.
Put a review on our agenda for our June meeting. That gives them 2 months of spring. Put a review on our agenda for our June meeting and then go from there.
Should be done by June 1st.
Yeah, I mean, we as of right now, unless we modify the permit, we can't do anything anyway. We just put a review for June, and then in June, we start making determinations as to what we're gonna do.
Want an expected date of when it's gonna occur. So
Yeah.
if we want to, talk about this should be done by June 1st, it should be done by June 1st. When do you think you're gonna have the window piece for us to take a look at, so we could plan on that as well? Because it was mentioned that could also help with the number.
Yes, so I can have a mock-up done and installed, I'm going to say the end of January. It really all depends on the winter season, because they're not going to be able to actually install anything if, the elements aren't right. But I'm sure that we'll get a clear day sometime in January, and I can have them actually mock up the piece, bring it out, and just install it to the building.
Okay. So we could have you with the February agenda, potentially.
Weather permitting, but yeah. Yep.
Tentatively February.
So I would just suggest that if it doesn't get done in January, which I certainly understand, if weather's an issue with the window, fine, and it gets pushed off, just coordinate with our principal planner, with Chantel, about kind of what time frame we're working at, so we can put you on an agenda in the future.
Will do.
Thank you.
So we're glad you're working on addressing it. We just all want it done sooner.
Oh yeah, no, that is completely understandable. I really do appreciate your patience.
Thank you, guys.
Does the board have any comments or questions?
All set here.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And now we've got 140 Industrial Road LLC review of cannabis odor mitigation plan.
Yep, Charlie, I just unmuted you.
Good evening. Thank you to the board for allowing us to appear this evening. This is Charlie Yon from 140 Industrial Road. And also on the line this evening is Alicia Champagne-Berge, our Senior Compliance Coordinator. At our last appearance regarding the special permit minor modification that we requested to add medical licensure, on a butter appeared and lobbied a complaint regarding odor at our location. So we, followed up on the planning board's request to develop an odor mitigation proposal, which you're scrolling through now. So we look to
Scrolling. So we're talking about what, 3 months is what if I'm adding all these weeks together?
Yeah, so we kind of went ahead with certain elements of the plan already. So the activated carbon scrubbers have already been. Oh.
Hold on 1 second. Up here.
Wave your arms.
No, those are time lights because those lights went off. Sorry, Charlie, go ahead.
No worries. The ACS devices have been sourced, and we've started using them already strategically kind of throughout our facility. The SOP adjustments we've also implemented as well. So there are elements that we've already gone ahead and implemented, but the PCOs, we have purchased. I don't believe those have arrived yet. And we have coordinated the install upon their arrival, which, involves the work of technical experts beyond our staff's capabilities.
Yeah, those look really interesting, the PCOs. I'd really like to know how they work after, how effective they are, because I'm just saying that could be just, it works great for you, could work well for others too.
I was at Montech on Saturday.
Right.
The smell was intense, and it was like at noontime. I went to my niece's game, and I came out, and I was like, it was intense. So it was Saturday around, it might have been around 1 o'clock.
And that's the school, and so we really want to make sure we're not smelling that outside in that regard. So I know it's like, because it was like the neighbor like brought it up, but they're just kind of like, the spokesman kind of for the neighborhood to some degree, if somebody at least is mentioning it. I'm glad that you're addressing it. We all are, and just because again, there should be zero odor coming from them.
And Charlie, I'm sure you heard the last conversation, and obviously you're a newer operation, so you get a little bit more leeway than Winoka Road because that's been such a long problem. But I do want to reiterate, I did talk to someone at the CCC, and they did state that the standard is the state. It's written into the permit. I have it highlighted. I don't have it with me, but basically the standard is that there should be no noxious odors whatsoever from cultivation facilities. So, it's not just us, but it's the state you're going to contend with if you keep having problems.
Understood.
Thank you.
You are the only facility on Industrial Road. So the timeline here is, you added up the weeks.
So why don't we do this? My suggestion would be to keep things uniform, make it June, and that way in June we can hear both Revolutionary Clinics and
update in June.
Yeah, this is still Native Son, Charlie?
Correct.
Fine, but yeah.
Right, I know. I was just looking for the name. Yeah, Native Son. So in our June meeting, we'll get an update. Hopefully, good news on both fronts, Winoka Road and 140. Industrial Road. And I just say that administratively to make it easier. I'm okay if you want to do something different.
Board member, thoughts on that?
All set here?
Okay, I think so. We'll do a June review of our
June.
changes. And any other ones that come up in between. We'll do that. All right. Well, we also appreciate you taking a look into this and working on this as soon as it was brought up.
Yes,
Of course.
bonus points for starting work without waiting for things too. So good job.
We appreciate that. It's always our intent to, maintain good standing, not only with the municipalities we operate in, but our neighbors. So we will continue to work at this. You have our word.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you to the board. Hope everyone has a safe night.
Thank you.
Okay.
Unless we have any further communications, Chantal? No? Our next meeting is going to be what? CDBG on January
11th, is that what I heard?
Yeah, that's what I had in my calendar.
Yep, and then our regular meeting is January 23rd.
I think I posted the meeting deadlines document online in the documents. Right?
Perfect.
That being said, we don't have any minutes. The community development office did hire a new administrative staff person. So hopefully we'll start to see some of those coming up in the new year. And get caught up. And
Make a motion to adjourn.
we have a motion to adjourn.
I knew you were waiting for it.
Can I just recognition?
Oh,
Thank you for your volunteerism. I'm grateful. And thank you for your comments tonight on the golf course. I can bring that back to the Conservation Commission. And the Conservation Commission needed a language
Hi, guys. I'm sorry to interrupt, but the audio cut out.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna lose this.
didn't happen.
Sorry, Alex.
Are you-
Okay, no problem.
All right, here we go.
you folks are gonna have to decide who's gonna pay for the sign interpreter, because if I come to these meetings, I can't hear a damn word.
Well, we'll be back there for most of our meetings.
I'm at home there, that's what I came for. And I wanted to thank you for your vigilance with regard to parking. It's a big deal for me, parking across the board. And I understand, however, you or zoning board can exercise discretion when it comes to parking in terms of 2 parking spaces per unit, et cetera. You have an element of discretion. I hope that you'll use it wisely. And all I want to say is that everybody comes into you telling you what they want, what they like to do, and then what you want to hear. This is real. So I have 21 units, 10 one-bedroom units. There's a single car in every one of those one-bedroom units. When it's double occupancy, 2 of them, there's 2 cars. I have 9 4-bedroom units. There are no fewer than 3 cars in each one of those 4-bedroom units. My point is that every living, breathing adult in all of my units today have a car. So there was a discretion exercised at Hopper Furniture, 1.5 units. I get it. And we're planning for the future where bicycles and EV and commuter rail and all of this are gonna displace cars. We're a long way off. So I ask you, when you make your decisions regarding parking, be vigilant, please. And if you think something's not coming down the road, yeah, something's coming down the road. I've been fighting forever. These houses get sold for stupid money with promises that they can make 3 units out of 1. And then they gotta come to you, or they're gonna go to zoning, and I gotta fight a battle because all my life I manage parking, and it's a full-time job. My tenants pay for parking and other people think that it's free. Well, it ain't free. So and the only thing I can ask is you and zoning to continue to be vigilant when it comes to parking today. when such a time comes, we'll change the rules, or we can go with 1.5 or 1 part, fine, then there's no discussion there. We've relaxed the rules. I like to play by the rules, I try, and if I try not to get caught when I don't. Hey, look, thanks you all for your volunteerism. Enjoy your meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. All.
All right.
There was a motion was made to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed?
Family.
Oh.
Bye-bye. Merry Christmas.